Show said he committed the Zodiac murders but also killed over 37 additional people. Van Dyke said, quote, "It was unbelievably easy for me to go kill someone, come back to Burbank and get on set. It was actually part of the fun to see if I could book a flight and make it back in time." Van Dyke's confession is corroborated by several eyewitnesses describing the Zodiac killer as, quote, "a gangly, loose-limbed man with a toothy grin and a spring in his step." In other news, the open dialogue two Americans are having about race is pretty hilarious. A husband is experimenting with an open marriage, and a loser is at a movie all by himself. This episode of The Onion Week in Review was paid for, funded, and entirely created by The Onion, and in no way benefited from cheap, thankless viewers like you. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, kicking off another Saturday episode of the show. We, as always, will take your calls and thoughts. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. In the studio, joining you tonight, it's me, Ian.
I am Skylar with Savage Truth 603.
And I am a giant dork.
Indeed.
Also known as the captain.
Our favorite dork.
So, welcome back to the show here, guys. Savage Truth 603 back in the house. What's it been, like a week?
It's been, yeah, just about that. But, it's been a wild time since the last time I saw you.
You're spending a lot of time out in Keene these days.
I'm thinking maybe I should move out this way,
It's a good crew. We got a good group of folks out here. Although people seem to come in from all over the state today. At least that's the impression I got, for what was a mask-free, I believe it was called a flash mob.
So we do what's called a maskless flash mob, and
so you've done this before?
So actually, this is my first one, but
okay.
The people that I do a lot of work with on the activist front are, we're involved in all these groups. So Absolute Defiance, Frank Staples, he's
Footloose. Yeah, we've had him on. He came on our show during the Porcupine Freedom Festival last year, and we spent 3 hours.
Love the man.
Interviewing him about his experience in New Hampshire prison.
Yeah, he really got railroaded by the system for some some very basic things, a piece of string and not wanting to shave his beard. And,
right.
And as a bearded brother, I can tell you,
fellow beardo,
I will I'll give my life over this thing. So.
So he was kind of one of the organizers. I mean, for lack of a better term, even though everybody's a leader, and there's actually some really interesting video footage where the cops are confronting folks outside. What happened was there is a co-op here in Keene that is a grocery store.
Yep.
And it's sort of like the most lefty grocery store out there.
Very unfriendly.
For our listeners unfamiliar, a co-op is it's a grocery store. It's kind of like Whole Foods, but you can buy a share of the co-op, so to speak, and then you get a reduced price on bulk items and things of that nature. It's a very hippie kind of
prices are jacked up, though, at the store.
The prices are jacked up at the store in general, unless you're a member. When you check out, they ask if you're a member, and then if you're not, of course, they charge you the exorbitant prices. So, and it's very expensive, a place to shop if you happen to live nearby.
Right in the heart of downtown Keene, which is already kind of like the liberal center of New Hampshire.
And this particular place is notorious for, if somebody comes in without a mask, being a-holes.
Yes, they're very unfriendly to anti-maskers, which is why this was the location that was chosen. They've harassed, women with their children and other, just regular citizens that want to go in there and do their business and not be accosted by people and not, be made to feel like they're being pushed around. And
I believe there was one lady that even wrote a lengthy letter to the editor here in the newspaper in Keene about her really negative experience just trying to go shopping. So this particular store was noteworthy in the way they've been treating people, because some stores, they just ignore you.
Right.
Some, they may say something to you, but as long as you say, hey, I've got a medical exemption, they leave you alone. This store does not, from what I understand. Now,
absolutely not.
I have not shopped at this store, and I didn't shop at the store today. I went as sort of outside backup. We knew the cops were going to come, so I wanted to be on the outside with a video camera because this was a newsworthy event. It's just I don't shop there, so I felt like it's not my place to go in with a video camera there. But luckily, Joe was there from Breaking the Flaw, and he followed, went in and showed as much as he could show.
The man with the real badge, the press badge, that is.
Exactly.
Before we get too deep into the events of today, I just want to say that flash mobs, if you're not familiar with the concept, they were kind of big with the, we'll call them the most common social media, Zuckerberg's for the, what was it called? The Arab Spring? Right. This was a tool
Egypt,
this was a tool that activists used to organize these flash mobs to show up and protest at certain areas, right? Everybody get online, they join a group and say, hey, we're going to have a flash mob at this time, this date, at this location.
Yeah, you can't use Facebook for that anymore.
No, of course not.
Shut you down.
But I just want to say thank you for using that, because it is a great tool that I think, since Facebook has sort of put the kibosh on it, lost a little bit of momentum within the activist movements, but it is still a great idea. And I think flash mobs could catch on and could catch fire to make this type of movement, or any social movement, really an even bigger thing.
Well, and this was organized successfully in that the target was not aware that this was going to happen. The word had gotten out that there was going to be something that happened in Keene, because the owner of Pho Keene Great, which is the local pho noodle restaurant here in Keene, she received a message from somebody saying, oh, these idiots are going to be coming to Keene. They're coming to your restaurant. Because actually what happened was people met at the pho noodle place first, and then walked over to the target location.
Yeah.
So the location really wasn't revealed until the moment of the actual strike, if you will.
And I just want to say that part of the reason that we were able to do that successfully was because we didn't use Facebook. We used Telegram. So if anybody wants to get added to any sort of activism chats, you can reach out to any one of us, and we can get you added to groups for maskless flash mobs, or rallies at in Newfields, at in the governor's neighborhood.
This is for people that are in New Hampshire, or can come up and visit, because there is a lot going on up here. You mentioned the governor's house.
Yep.
You guys had a really interesting situation the other day with him, and I don't think we've had you on since that happened. So let's go a little further back than what happened today. This was an incredible success. You got a tip from somebody.
That's right.
About where Governor Sununu here, who I'd like to rather call the Tyrant King.
Yes. Yep.
Tyrant King Sununu was going
His
to
Excellency.
He was actually going to leave his house,
the Ivory Tower,
and go out into where the little people are. He attended a tapping of the trees at like a maple farm, right?
Yeah. They're a dairy farm, but they do maple stuff too. Yep.
So that was the whole thing. He was, he's schmoozing, right? It's a photo op event. They brought their kids out, and he's like tapping the tree with the kids around him. And in the background, you posted this picture. There's Joa from Breaking the Flaw standing in the background of this perfect shot with the governor and the kids and the tapping the tree. So you guys infiltrated this event.
So I got a tip from somebody, and I just want to say that I'm forever grateful for this tip, because it was, they gave me some information and helped me get there, and our intent was specifically just to get close enough to the governor to ask him some pointed questions.
Right. He doesn't want to answer any.
Absolutely not. He won't say any. He won't say anything in the media
unless you're the mainstream media.
He'll talk to you. Unless it's scripted. Yeah. And even nobody asked the pointed questions, and so that's what we went there to do, was to put some pressure on him and to make him answer to the things that he has done to local businesses here in New Hampshire and to the citizens that he supposedly is supposed to be representing. And it was, I got a little bit of flack because we went in there with masks on, and that was by design so that we could get in there and get set up and.
All's fair in love and war.
That's right. Sometimes you have, you use disguises. It's no different. That's
absolutely.
We just wanted to not get noticed until we were firmly planted.
They do the same thing to us. They send an agent into our midst. They're not going to be putting a mask on. Right?
You want to talk about unmarked police cars?
Yeah.
Or the police officer that was at the event that refused to identify himself in plain clothes?
You mean the governor's guard?
Yes.
Well, the interesting thing was, since you bring him up, normally Sununu and his predecessors as well in New Hampshire, the governor has one agent that's assigned to them generally. Okay,
Right.
they're with them all the time. They're just their personal bodyguard. It's not like New York. I don't know how many people this Cuomo guy's got assigned to him, but it's got to be way more than one. He's probably got a phalanx of cops assigned to him. So there's way less as far as the sort of government structure here in New Hampshire. But since Sununu has been targeted at his house by multiple protests, of which I have attended. I think, Captain, you went to at least one of them.
The first one, I think.
Yeah, and so, we've done multiple weekly protests at this guy's house, and he had dozens of cops. There were at least 2 dozen cops there when you got arrested for standing around during a candlelight vigil. And I figured he'd have more than one agent with him, just given all of the action. Nope, it was just one. Apparently, just one guy.
We blindsided him,
and you guys got to ask him some really poignant questions. There's more coming up here. 603-283-6160. If you want to join us, this is Free Talk Live.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Yep, it is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything here. The number is 603-283-6160. We were talking about the mask-free flash mob that showed up today at a local lefty granola grocer here in Keene.
The hippie grocery, as I like to call it.
Yeah, the Monadnock Co-op. Like I said, I don't shop at the place, so I didn't feel like I should be going into it, but I did stay on the outside, got some good footage out there. Joa from Breaking the Flaw got some great footage on the inside, so I'm putting together a video, sort of like an overview of what happened using both of those camera views. And then also Skylar is here from Savage Truth 603, which you can check him out on YouTube. You got some footage which I haven't had a chance to even look at yet. So if I can, if I can mix it all together, I will. That'll be coming out later on the Free Keene YouTube channel. Maybe if they don't shut down my channel. I had somebody actually challenge a 11-year-old video on my channel over the last few days.
Are you sure it's somebody?
Well,
or an algorithm.
Right. Maybe it is an algorithm.
Yeah. Because this has been happening on multiple social medias where they change the algorithm and then they go ahead and they just apply it to everything regardless of the date. So people have been getting flagged for stuff they posted a decade ago and, given, a ban or a 30-day timeout or whatever it is these social media companies decide to do because they change their algorithm every now and again. And then it goes back and it sort of looks for anything that's ever been posted that violates whatever.
Well, the craziest thing was it was a 15-second long promo for freekeene.com.
Oh, weird.
I mean, there's not much content in this thing at all. And so, I'm like, what is it that was so offensive? It said it was like harmful and dangerous content. And like the worst this thing shows is somebody getting arrested. Like a clip of somebody getting handcuffs put on them.
It is harmful and dangerous to get arrested.
But it's effectively news content.
Right.
It's like, what was it? When I showed it to the group here, the local libertarian chat on Telegram, Vincent, former co-host here on Free Talk Live, said, it must have been the Gadsden. Because apparently at like one point in one of the video clips, somebody in the background has a Gadsden flag. It was like at a protest where there's, 130 people or whatever.
That's madness.
And but I don't know. I don't know what it was that triggered this thing.
Yeah. And you never will.
Well, and here's the other thing. There was another one with just Penn Jillette saying he wants to move to Keene. That one got tripped, and that one didn't have a Gadsden flag in it.
Horrifying.
Now, I appealed both of them.
Yeah.
These are both 15-second long, little promos. They said, okay, the Penn one's fine, but the other one is no good. It violates our hateful or harmful, dangerous policy. And so I've got a strike on the channel because of that. So maybe this video will make it to Free Keene, or maybe the channel's going to get taken down soon. But luckily, we've got a library channel. And so one of the things I want to do is make a library promotional video. I mean, I've talked about library before.
Yeah.
I've written blog posts about library. We've had the Free Keene YouTube channel has been backed up by library, and it saved our ass a couple of times with a couple of videos that YouTube took down and library preserved. So like it's worked. I'm a fan of it, and I have been wanting to focus more on library, and now I've got the extra reason to say, all right, look, let's put a promo video for library on the YouTube channel to actually direct people over before they shut us down.
Man, I remember before Google bought YouTube, when YouTube was actually cool and it would show, videos by actual people that were popular or made popular by actual people. Now, if you sign out of all of your Google stuff and then go to youtube.com,
see what's on the front page.
And see what's on the front page. It's all very much well-produced content by
like
all
CNN,
of the big media companies,
sponsored
MSNBC,
people,
sponsored, all that kind of stuff.
So it's gone total corporate.
It's so disgusting.
So all of that's going on here. We went to this grocery store. We don't get back into that, but also take your calls. So let's talk to Jerome. He's on the line in South Carolina. Jerome, listening to WTMA. Go ahead. In Charleston.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not moving to Keene, okay?
Oh, thank
goodness. You don't have anything to worry about.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going out for a drink with you, Jerome, but we definitely don't need more liberals moving here.
No.
Yeah, right. Hey, did you hear Ron
or
Johnson
conservatives,
saying
for that matter. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm not a conservative. You can bet on that.
Well, we know that
Not
much.
after Ron, especially after Ron Johnson. That dummy.
Ron Johnson?
Yeah.
You mean
Who's
Ron
that?
Paul? Who you talking about?
Yeah, he's one of Trump's bootlickers.
Ron Johnson?
He said that, yeah.
Who is he?
That's his real name, okay?
What does he
Pick it
do?
up with him. Yeah, he said that the insurrection or the riot, where all the white people went crazy and
Oh, come on, man.
Whoa. Why we got to put race into it, bro?
Well, what was the racial makeup of the crowd?
I don't
Do we
know.
want to?
There. I wasn't.
You didn't see
I
that.
don't know,
You
but I'll
didn't
tell
watch
you
any
this,
of that,
Jerome.
huh?
Hold on, I'll tell you this. I mean, I'm in New Hampshire, which isn't the most diverse place
Oh,
racially.
you don't need to tell me the racial makeup
Well,
of New
hey,
Hampshire.
are you going to listen to what I have to say here? Because I went to one of these.
listening.
Listen, I went to look. I don't support Trump, and you know that, Jerome. You called the show back. I don't support any president. I don't want a federal government, but. After Trump, lost the election, they had these "Stop the Steal" rallies in Concord, and I just wanted to go to do outreach. I want to talk to people about secession. So I've been to Black Lives Matter. I've been to the "Stop the Steal." I don't care wherever people are, wherever there's a group of people, I'm going to be there so I can give them information about whatever it was I want to give them information about. And in this case, I was there to talk about secession. Hold on, Jerome. Hold on. There were two guys at this New Hampshire protest who were black guys who spoke at the protest.
Don't give me that, okay? Don't give me. There you go. Now there you go.
You brought it up.
What's the ranch gonna bring up?
You brought it up.
Hey, listen, if there was two black guys there at this rally of 100 people, the percentage there is way better, way higher than the percentage in New Hampshire in general, because it's a predominantly white state. So if there was a couple black people there, that's a huge support.
Big deal.
Yeah, they were well spoken. They spoke at the event, and I thought,
here you go. Well spoken. Okay. Hey, but he said that he wasn't worried about all the crazy wackos at that insurrection in Washington, D.C. But he said if they were black and they were protesting Obama, complaining about an election, then
see, this is what you're missing,
worried.
Jerome. I guarantee you there were black people in that group of people in Washington, D.C., and there were probably Asian people and, Indian people and all kinds of people. I mean, you'd be surprised at how diverse the Trump fans are.
Jerome.
Look. He brought up race, okay? He did it. I didn't do it.
You called in to bring it up.
Yeah, you did.
Talking
Yeah,
about
you did.
race?
He brought up the race.
I need to make a point right now, my man. All right? I'm a
okay,
white
my man. As Sammy Davis Jr. would say.
Hey, I'm a white man, and I was arrested.
I know you are.
I was arrested for putting 2 stickers up, bro. Like we've seen people burn cities down, black, white, blue, brown, gay, straight. It doesn't matter, but I am a white man who was arrested for 2 stickers and for trying to have a candlelight vigil. So,
look, he said he would not have been worried. He wasn't worried that the people acting like that were white. If they were black, that would be a problem for him.
Well, there's plenty of racist people, Jerome.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of racist people in Washington, D.C., and it sounds like you found another one. I mean, that's not a surprise.
Sounds like maybe you are one.
If that, well, it could be. He is a little obsessed with race.
When you're obsessed with race, you're inherently a racist.
I do have Scott the Bigot on the line. Should we conference call
Scott
these
the
two?
Bigot, bro?
STB and Jerome?
Is this a fight to the death?
I don't know.
Time will warp.
See, hang on. 603-283-6160. You can join us here. You can bring up whatever you want. This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday show.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk live Saturday show. The number for you, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. In the studio with you tonight, you've got Ian.
I am Skylar with Savage Truth 603.
And the Reverend Captain Kickass is here.
And also, for a long time, liberty-minded people have wanted a directory of freedom-friendly businesses, and now you got it. It's liberty.menu. It is a great little tool, and it's free to use. So if there's something that you do, maybe you're a content creator, like Savage Truth 603.
Yeah.
Or maybe you've got an event that you want to promote, like Fork Fest or the Porcupine Freedom Festival or some other thing. You can do those things and or just promote your business there over at liberty.menu. It's exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, which means our next two callers do not qualify. But you can over at liberty.menu. We're going to bring Jerome back on the line here, but I do want to just bring in Scott the Bigot. Jerome does want to talk to you, Scott. Now, I just wanted to get you on here because I know you were calling for another reason. You were on hold before we took Jerome's call. So what was the point of your call tonight?
Good evening, Ian, Skylar, and Captain. This is my point to my call. Using the words of Martin Luther King, since Jerome's on the I have a dream. I have a dream, too, and this is my dream. I have a dream that 70 to 80 million, 100 million unemployed, hungry, homeless, furious Americans, disenfranchised, will rise up against this evil Zionist-occupied government. And so people don't think that I'm talking in double talk, what do I mean by Zionist-occupied government? If I need to spell it out, I will. The same folks that control Wall Street, the media, Michael Bloomberg, Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs.
Now, what would that rise up? You're talking about a rise up. What would that look like? What do you think that means?
It would look like 100 million Americans marching on Washington, armed with their firearms, which they have under the U.S. Constitution, the Second Amendment. And I want to see the overthrow of the United States government. I know what I'm saying.
Now, when you say the overthrow, that suggests that you want someone to take the power. You want to overthrow the existing structure and someone to take over?
So
That's right.
Who would be the takeover people?
That's a very good question. Maybe, but you asked me a question and I will give you an answer and not sugarcoat it. Maybe someone along the lines of if there could be a coalition made between the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the 3%ers, right-wing groups that the
What
FBI,
if I don't want anybody to take over? What if I don't want anyone to control my life?
Well, you're going to have somebody to fill the void, and
that's the problem.
Also, be careful who you call right-wing, because I'm sure that there are plenty of 3%ers out there that would not appreciate being called right-wing.
I want to bring Jerome on the line here. Jerome, you just heard Scott the Bigot's plans. He wants to take down the federal government. You're on the line with Scott the Bigot. Your thoughts?
He's an anti-Semite. He doesn't cover that up very good. Hey, Scott, did you like the Oklahoma basketball announcer and what he said about the women's team taking the knee? Did you like that comment?
What was that? I hadn't heard about
that. I didn't even hear that.
Well, hey, turn the news on. They'll play it enough for you. He made a racial slur because the women's team took a knee. I said, and then he said the reason he did it is because he's diabetic. That's a damn lie.
Is that the guy with the hot mic?
I'm a diabetic. I don't use language like that because of my diabetes, okay? I don't use that as an excuse to use a racist slur on a bunch of innocent women just for a mild protest about inequality in this country.
Hey, Jerome, hang on for a minute. Jerome, hang on for a minute. I believe you're talking about, was this the guy who got caught with the hot mic?
Yeah.
Okay. I have
he
heard
should have
this.
put that hot mic in his butt.
An announcer
should have been a poker.
Hot mic in his butt.
Yeah. An announcer at this women's basketball game thought the mic was off or muted or whatever, and it was not. Yeah. And he ended up saying some pretty hateful terms.
Oh my!
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and it was broadcast
towards
over
who?
The loudspeaker.
Towards who? The women?
He used the N-word.
Oh, okay.
Oh, bad news.
Oh, I got another one for you. Oh, Georgetown's kicking Creighton's ass in basketball. Creighton basketball coach, he said, we can't leave the plantation. Gets a one-game suspension. Now he's back on the sidelines coaching. I couldn't wait to play for a guy like that.
Let's give the Bigot a chance to respond. Go ahead, Scott.
Anti-Semite.
Yeah. You call me an anti-Semite. I'm proud to be an anti-Semite.
You are. You don't make any bones about it.
I am proud of it because, first of all, I'm Jewish, and I'm associated.
You can't be Jewish. You can't be anti-Semite because you're Jewish, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You can't be an anti-Semite if you're Jewish.
No, I think he's saying he is. I think he's admitting.
Okay.
I'm a self-hating Jew, and I'll tell you why, Jerome, why I despise the Jewish people. I see a lot of evil in the world, and when I mean evil, I'm talking about let's start with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913. It's the Rothschild's personal bank. It has brought untold misery to the United States. It's lost 97% of its value. It has enslaved the American people. And I heard you mention Ian, Ron Paul, Dr. Paul.
Ron Johnson.
He is definitely for destroying the Federal Reserve, taking it down. But the powers that be will never take it down.
No. Jerome, he's talking about Ron Paul is a completely different person.
He's a clown.
Well, okay.
Whoa, careful. That's my granddad, bro.
Yeah, finally we're going to disagree on something here.
Ron Paul's a clown.
No, so
His
Jerome,
daddy's
what
a
do you
clown
think?
too.
Jerome, what do you think
His son's a clown.
Hold on, Jerome. What do you think about what Scott said about the Federal Reserve? I mean, can we come together on this one? Like that, do you agree that it should be gotten rid of? That we don't need the government money that's being inflated? What do you think about that?
Look, all I can say is this. In this country, we can always do better, okay? There's no question about that. That's my only response to all this government talk. We can always do better to benefit everyone.
Okay, so does that mean
the sooner we do that, the better it'll be for our country.
Okay, does that mean that you do support the takedown of the Federal Reserve?
No, I don't support. I'm not going to commit to something like that. All I can say is we can always do better.
Okay, all right. I just dropped him off the line. I didn't mean to do that. So thank you.
I wanted to ask Jerome a question.
I don't think he's there anymore.
I wonder what he thinks of Reverend Farrakhan.
Farrakhan? Oh.
Yeah, because Farrakhan, I agree with a lot of his views. I think he's a great man, and I think that he speaks very well for the Nation of Islam, which is an organization that
it's a hate-filled group of people that likely murdered Malcolm X. Thank you for the call tonight, Scott the Bigot, and apologies to Jerome. I didn't mean to hit the drop button.
Scott continues to surprise me.
With his hatred?
Yeah.
Stupidity knows no bounds, my friends.
Just when you think you know all of the tricks he's going to pull out of his bag of goodies when he calls, he just slides a new one in there. You're like, okay.
Leaves you kind of speechless. You're like, where do we go from here?
My
Next
flabber is gasted.
Yeah, next thing you know, he joins the Nation of Islam as their newest self-hating Jewish member.
Yeah, okay.
How can you be like? I feel like, man, your life must be really bad if you were like, if you hate yourself for your own lineage.
Yeah.
That's rough, bro.
And hate everybody else at the same time. I mean, the man is just full of hatred.
Yes.
And it's sad.
Tough way to live.
603-283-6160. Well, they couldn't really come together on anything there, but yeah, it could have been worse, I suppose.
Yeah.
It wasn't a train wreck.
No, it wasn't.
I anticipated train wreck, so anything not train wreck is a bonus.
603-283-6160. That's our number. You can bring up what you want here. We were talking earlier about this mask-free flash mob that hit a grocery store here in Keene, New Hampshire today. Video is available on the Breaking the Flaw YouTube channel right now because Joe was there. He streamed live for like an hour, so you get everything from when they were walking in towards when they left the premises after the police came. It's going to make for a really interesting video once I can put everything together. But Skylar, you went inside the grocery store, and this was your first time doing this. I remember seeing there was another event in Nashua where Footloose and some other guys went to a Hannaford grocery store there, and that one they got kicked out when the police came. They were told they were trespassed for a year. This one went way better, I had to say, than the one that did it at Hannaford. We'll talk a little bit more about it. 603-283-6160, and you can share your thoughts with us. Is this going on where you live? It's Free Talk Live. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
You know that at some point in your life, an emergency is going to happen. You just don't know when. You could call the government, and maybe they'll help. Or they might shoot your dog. Why call potentially psychopathic strangers when you could ask your friends, family, or neighbors for help? Cell 411 makes decentralized emergency response possible, and it's free. Visit getcell411.com or download Cell 411 from your favorite app store. Getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Flash flood warning is in effect, and authorities are asking people to stay indoors and avoid the roads.
We are urging everyone to seek shelter. Remember, being carried away by this storm is very different from the joy of being carried by Bogdan and seeing for miles from his shoulders.
The typhoon is predicted to hit the South Carolina coast the hardest. Chad Williams is live on the scene now. The wind looks pretty strong out there, Chad.
Barely. But it is nothing compared to Bogdan.
So people in South Carolina aren't worried?
No, they laugh at the storm. They are piling sandbags to stop the water. Would mere sand stop Bogdan?
But there is real danger. Authorities say that 3 people were killed outside of Charleston when their car was washed into a ravine.
And in that we have proof. The storm has failed the true test of strength. Bogdan's greatest power is his gentle heart. Bogdan would never hurl a car full of people into a ravine.
So from what you're seeing out there, real strength lies within?
Yes. This storm, like all else, is weaker than Bogdan.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, the show where you can call in to take control of the airwaves. Our number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And here in the studio, you've got Ian.
I am Skylar with Savage Truth 603.
And I am Captain Kickass.
We got a lot to talk about. Of course, open phones means you can call in to bring up anything you want. The overarching topic tonight, and I wish it didn't have to be, was these damn masks. You just keep shoving them in people's faces. Now, to be fair, there are some states that are finally rolling back the mask mandates.
There's now 15 mask-free states.
Really?
My last count.
Wow.
And strangely, New Hampshire is not one of them.
So it's not strange at this point. I mean,
no, it's not.
The so-called live free or die state has been less than stellar in the last year. It's been a real disappointment. New Hampshire, I expected better from the people.
To say the least.
Here, I really did. I expected more pushback.
Yeah.
You live in Concord, Skylar. I imagine it's almost as bad, if not worse, there than here in Keene. I was in Walmart the other day, and it was total compliance with the exception of me and Bonnie. We were the only 2 people in the store.
Nobody pushes it, and it's really funny when they people look at me, and you can see the reaction come across their face. Like they see like this, and then they see the rest of my face, and they're like, "Wow, he's smiling at me." Mm-hmm. Like, this is abnormal, but I really like it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's weird to be like the exception because people can see my whole face, and I have a beard.
Yeah, how dystopian is it that normal face is now the exception?
Yeah.
Yep, it's crazy. And so we're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. We were talking about a mask-free protest sort of thing, shopping event that went on today. We can get back into that, but we're going to go to your calls first. First up, he is Ben in South Carolina. Ben, listening on the radio to WTMA there in Charleston.
Thank you.
Yes, Ben.
Well, actually, it's Alex in Merle's Inlet.
Okay, I really screwed that one up.
In Myrtle Beach. But I do listen to WTMA.
All right. Well, I don't know how the hell that happened. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry about that.
Hey, it's all good. You know, down here in the South, we just take it easy, and it's okay.
Cool.
Quickly, yeah. I want to talk about the mask thing, and honestly, at the time, I want quickly after that about Cuomo, not the sexual harassment things. But anyway, but quickly, I have to respond to Jerome. I was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. I went to school. I was listening to Jerome. I love hearing Jerome on your show. And the reason, you know what? I love listening to your show because it's the one show that gets back to reality. I mean, you guys have, I think, the best show. And but listening to Jerome, he is a product of. Listen, I was born. I'm not the same age as Jerome, but probably I'm a little younger. Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I think I'm an independent. I'm all over. And listen, actually, the more I listen to you guys, the more I'm thankful I'm not Republican or Democrat.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm still trying to get there. It's a work in progress. But Jerome is a product of all four of my grandparents were Republicans here in the South, South Carolina, and I don't recall any kind of racial anything ever being said, not anything like this or that. And one set of my grandparents lived out in the country, and and other people out there had Confederate flags. It wasn't about KKK. It was nothing like that. But Jerome's a product of where these politicians get in and they sell them this hatred. And I'm going to get the subject. I lived for about a year in Williamsburg County in South Carolina with Jim Clyburn was my representative. And he just pushes this hatred, which unfortunately people like Jerome and Jim Clyburn and others, and I'll say Barack Obama uses hatred to corral people into voting a certain way. That's not what I called.
Well, it's about. Hold on, before you go on though, it's really about dividing people.
Yes,
it is.
That's the politicians' game. They want to divide people, and they divide them on false lines. Like, there are actual divisions between people as far as what they believe and what they don't. That's fine. People are different, and there variety is the spice of life and all that. But they use it in a very hateful manner. They want you to fear the other
and hate them.
Right, rather than just simply allowing that person to have the life that they want, whether it be a trans person or whether it be a straight person or whatever, just letting them have their life. They want you to think that, oh, that person's a threat to you.
Well, and for example, right now, the way politicians and the media are spinning the whole mask thing is they want the mask people to hate the non-mask people.
Mm-hmm.
That's
they want to fear them too.
Yes, absolutely. But I mean, I've seen people freak out to a point, like you were talking about the lady today that you bumped into at your Flash Mob event, where she almost broke down in tears because of how she felt about seeing somebody unmasked. And I mean, people will freak out on you just for being normal faced.
Well, there's actually video footage in the video from Joa from Breaking the Flaw where an old guy is actually threatening to hit another old guy. Yeah. He's got like a rolled up bunch of nickels in his hands, and he's ready to sock him in the face because he's not wearing a mask.
He told me he hopes I die.
Yeah, that's right. He was outside later.
He said, "I hope that you die." So wait a minute.
Nice.
Let me get this straight. So you're wearing two-face diapers so that you can prevent people from dying,
right?
But you hope I die.
Yeah. That's what he said.
Something doesn't work.
All right, Alex. What else?
Yeah, well, quickly on top of that, I'd say for a number of years I did live in Charleston and downtown Charleston, but I didn't know anything about it. So really a hotspot food and beverage. I worked down there in the hospitality business, food and beverage, restaurants. And I can tell you there's real repercussions in that when – I remember when Bush was in office, and I quickly got off it. When Bush was in, people had the radio on. I'm not going to get into details. Fashion Bush. And as soon as Barack Obama was elected, you can talk about Barack Obama. He was like a saint. And then fast forward, before I left Charleston with Trump, people could bash. So you could not say something about, it depends on who was running for president. And there were real repercussions. I remember really actually incidents and actually with, it got political down. If you've ever worked in a kitchen, in a restaurant, things could get pretty hot. So I don't want to talk about that. The mask thing. I live here in actually it's Myrtle Beach, Myrtle's Inlet. And I love your show because you guys really get down to like reality. I think more people.
You got to spit it out, man. Get to the point.
Okay, is that the mask thing? Joe Biden talking about the mask thing and giving this speech. Oh, well, I'll have the 4th of July maybe one day. Listen, I live right here in Myrtle Beach, Myrtle's Inlet, and we have this on Surfside Beach. There's a big barbecue, and people are there. And today I took my dog to the beach. I rode down the Marsh Walk with all these restaurants, people out there, and the restaurants are packed. And you know what I'm saying? It's
so
like,
wait, are people wearing masks in
them.
these restaurants, or are they mask-free?
I don't know. I didn't go into them, but okay. I know that I just rode down that way by this restaurant. The restaurants
so you
are
saw
packed,
a lot of cars out
but
there.
People
That's
are
good.
out.
That's good. I'm glad to see the people are going out. Alex, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Dave is in Washington State. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the difference between Washington and Idaho is literally night and day. Just before the count started getting into the teens of the rest of the states jumping on board with this no mask crap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Idaho already did their big mask burning day. I mean, we had burn barrels all over the state, and people
Proud
were
of you, bro.
chucking their masks because they realize this is a psychological crap game. This has nothing to do with the flu bug. This is all psychological and political. So we said, no, we ain't doing it. So ain't doing it.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures from that. It looked great. They had like little kids going up and dropping masks in these big oil can fires. Just it was really impressive. I hope that we see similar things happening here in New Hampshire this coming week.
One thing I will say is that masks do not burn like you would expect them to. They just melt.
I found this out at Fork Fest last year when my band Fudd played a set at the campsite, and we attempted to burn a mask. And we should have melted. Yeah, we should have poured some lighter fluid on it or something. We had, an extinguisher prepped and some water, that kind of a thing. Fire safety first, right? But we went to burn it like during the show, and it just wouldn't light. I was so upset.
You didn't try it beforehand. That's what you should have prepared.
Well, we only had one.
That's good.
I think we found it on the ground somewhere.
Thanks,
so
Dave.
So you guys are all out on the what I consider East Coast, or out eastwards of say past you're past Montana.
This is New Hampshire. Yeah, New Hampshire.
We're definitely past Montana.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because I'm 50 years old. I live off grid. I'm tucked up in the corner in the woods. Off grid means no, I don't have battery banks and solar panels and all that junk. And I don't get corrupted with all your CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, none of that BS.
Well, I'm glad you're still somehow able to watch our video feed. So thanks for, that's how he said he was watching us tonight. Thanks for being out there, Dave. I do appreciate it. We got another hour, 2 hours actually to go. Here we got a full 3-hour-long show every single night, 7 nights a week. If you want to join us, you can. Our number is 603-283-6160. You can bring up anything you want. It doesn't have to be, mask-related or whatever. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 2 is next.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free-market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Everyone's always talking about buy Bitcoin. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. That's boring as hell. How about earning some Bitcoin? Getting paid with it. That's the way. It is money after all. If you want to earn Bitcoin at your business, AnyPay is the way to do it. Your customers will love it. Everyone in town will talk about your store being the Bitcoin store, and it's just fun. Get our free app and start earning Bitcoin at your business. AnyPayX.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The federal government takes a step to help the border situation. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. The Director of Homeland Security has instructed FEMA over the next 90 days to receive, shelter, and transfer unaccompanied children at the southern border. The Biden administration's been facing increasing pressure to address the growing migrant crisis.
Democrats and Republicans want President Biden to possibly go visit the border. Republicans are calling this a crisis. Democrats are calling it a challenge. No question there are difficulties and problems at the border. Both parties agree of that. One of those problems, a surge of unaccompanied children, sometimes very young, with no possessions, just desperate to get into the United States.
Fox's David Sputt. $1,400 stimulus payments are beginning to be sent out as part of President Biden's coronavirus relief package.
While higher income individuals are not qualifying, the president says some families may be getting a lot more money than they realize.
For a typical family of four, middle-class family, husband and wife working, making $110,000 a year, that means $5,600 check they're going to get. 85% of the households in America will be getting this money.
Also next week, the government says Americans can go on irs.gov to check on the status of their payments. The payments are going out in plenty of different formats. Some people are going to be getting physical checks. Some should see direct deposits. Others may see a debit card sent to them.
Fox's Mark Meredith. A pair of NASA astronauts are back in the International Space Station after conducting a several hours-long spacewalk to rearrange space station plumbing while carefully avoiding toxic ammonia coolant lingering in the lines.
I felt like it was more than I was expecting just in this line, but it did stop.
Courtesy of NASA TV. It was the 5th spacewalk for this U.S., Russian, Japanese crew of 7. America is listening to Fox News.
If you're using anything other than Indeed for your hiring, you are wasting your time. Hire great people faster with Indeed. Only pay for results and get back time in your schedule. Indeed.com helps you find quality candidates instantly with Indeed Instant Match. Indeed searches through the millions of resumes in their database to help show you great candidates instantly. Get started right now with a free $75 credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Fox. Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through March 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
A spike in new coronavirus cases has prompted Italy to return to a nationwide coronavirus lockdown. Fox's Carmen Roberts reports.
Officials say a spike in COVID cases over the past 6 weeks is forcing them to increase restrictions and to warn they're quickly losing ground against the highly contagious COVID variants. So starting Monday, everyone in the country's most populated regions must stay home, with the exception of essential workers. And for a second straight year, the entire country will be on lockdown during Easter. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
Just today, Italy reported more than 26,000 new coronavirus cases. A Colorado man's accused of disrupting an Alaska Airlines flight from Seattle to Denver by refusing to wear a mask and then urinating in the cabin. 24-year-old Landon Greer of Canyon City was arrested after the flight landed on Tuesday. He faces a federal charge of flight interference with a maximum term of 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez have snubbed reports of their breakup. Fox's Michelle Polino reports.
Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez have not called it quits. The superstar couple dubbed J-Rod told TMZ,
All the reports are inaccurate. We are working through some things. On Friday, Page 6 reported the couple split, with her filming her new movie in the Dominican Republic.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, LionsofLiberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you The Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of The Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Clark County paramedics responded to a frantic 911 call from a nearby motel this morning, where the Lord our God, divine creator and ruler of the universe, had been found nude and unconscious following his latest suicide attempt. God, whose sources say had recently grown far more depressed and withdrawn from humanity than usual, reportedly attempted to hang himself from the base of his motel showerhead after ingesting an unknown quantity of Ambien. Motel sources claim that God's room had been left in a state of disarray, and revealed that they had found a brief note written by the omnipotent deity, saying that the suicide stems from long periods of unhappiness he had been suffering in recent millennia, including the death of his only child, thousands of years of war and genocide, chronic weight gain, and the aftermath of his messy 15,088 BC divorce. Paramedics say the Supreme Being had no pulse when they arrived. The Lord's overdose comes in the wake of several widely publicized previous suicide attempts, including a 1985 incident when the Lord leapt from the Grand Canyon but changed into a bird at the last second and flew to safety.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and we're kicking off the second hour here. Plenty of time. If you want to join us, you can. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. We were talking about a mask-free flash mob that hit a local grocery store here, a co-op, here in the Monadnock region today. Video footage is up. The raw footage from Joa from Breaking the Flaw, if you want to check it out now, unedited, as it happened, it's all there. And, well, of course, it's not all there. Only his perspective. There was, I don't know, 24 people there today. At least, yeah. Rough guess of the number of people. Yeah, and a wide range of ages. There were some elderly people there, and including one lady that was actually a member of the co-op. I don't know how many of the people there were members, but there was at least one of them that was not happy with them mandating masks and refusing service to people that have medical exemptions. So that was the reason they were targeted. We can continue with that discussion here in a moment, but first, let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts. We actually have Ben in South Carolina. I mixed up the lines earlier. I called for him. He wasn't there. Now he's here. Ben in South Carolina, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, hey, Ian. Hey, Captain, what's happening?
Yo.
Great
Skylar's here, too, from Savage Truth 603. Go ahead.
So I apologize. I had a few weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, I had my councilman call into the show from Charleston. That's where I live. And he told you a little bit about how he was the only one on city council here that has been opposed to the mask mandate that is just in our municipality since the beginning. He's the only one on council. And our governor just recently came out just in the last few days. We never had a mandate, but he sort of had a recommendation. And he even made a formal statement that he was removing that statement and that municipalities could not, overly enforce a mask mandate. That if any reasonable exceptions were okay, but that, he's from the beginning has been pretty, very conservative in the fact that he won't, won't mandate masks in the state. However, our mayor is the absolute polar opposite of that man. And my councilman, I don't want to say his name, but I told him about your show, and I had him call in to tell you guys. And there now is a huge push about how he is a racist. He is this massive, what do you say, white supremacist, and they are trying desperately to have him removed from council, and they've created a code of conduct now.
Is there any truth to the allegation that he is a white supremacist?
Yeah, listen, absolutely not. I have known him since his campaign. He's the youngest person to ever be elected.
Wow.
To that seat, and I mean to our council, and I helped him through his campaign, and I know him very well. I talk to him 2 or 3 times a week.
So you think they've created this code of conduct?
Girlfriend at one point.
Black girlfriend. Okay. You think that they've created a code of conduct to violate? Give him an easy excuse to violate it and boot him out?
Yeah, they have created this code of conduct because he is not afraid to write things on like his social media or to do interviews and to say what he thinks about some of these ridiculous ordinances, and that he doesn't support it. Like for instance, the after 11 music and the masks outside. Here we have to wear a mask from the time you get out of your car until the time you get back in your car.
Or else what?
Until you get to your house.
Or else what?
Well, that's the thing. Where I happen to work, and you may remember I told you about the Livability department here who's enforcing this.
Oh, right.
There's like a special court.
It's run by a person that is appointed by the mayor, and he has an incredible
for our listeners
power.
that don't recall what you're talking about, you're talking about basically Charleston, South Carolina has some sort of special quote-unquote livability court, right?
Right. And it is from scratch, a fake.
Well, what happens though? Like if you don't put a mask on, if you're just going about, doing your business and wherever, and you're not wearing a mask, what's going to happen?
Well, so I can give you a great example, and if you look it up, you can find it. There was a lady that was in Target that didn't have a mask on. She had her child with her. She has a medical exception, and she was approached in the store by 2 of the mask police that work for the Livability department. And that's what they do. They walk around, look for people without masks, write tickets. And they're not deputized. They're not, these are just regular Joes. You know what I mean? And these are the kind of people you can just walk away from.
What kind of a person takes that kind of a job? I don't understand.
Little tyrant.
Somebody who has no power.
Well, listen, it gets great. It gets better because they put this woman in tears, harassing her about the mask and wanting to see her proof of exemption.
An exemption, which she has no obligation to provide.
I was going to say, does she have an obligation in that state? Because
her boss, who's on record, he did an interview, and he said that he has instructed his people to write a ticket anyways if you have an exemption, and you can explain it to the judge. And I don't even know if that's legal, that you have to present it to the court, because the court, like I said, is totally made up. This is a court for people who leave their trash cans out overnight. And
all courts are totally made up, but I get what you're saying here, Ben.
This is the court for people who didn't like how the regular court works, so they made up another one.
So are you saying people have actually received tickets that you're aware of?
I know one person that has received 5.
Wow.
And the first one is $100, and then everyone after that is $500.
Officers hand out 47 citations for downtown mask violations. This is Charleston,
and
South
they will,
Carolina.
and they'll go out and brag. They have the newspaper behind them. They have the newspaper writing these editorials, making fun of people who don't wear masks, making fun of people who, are quote unquote so stupid as to not understand the science behind the mask.
What happens to somebody if they don't pay the fine?
Well, they can swear out a warrant, and this, I told you last time that if that I hope that I get a ticket because I'm going to ask for jail time.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, because a lot of times when I ask that question, people don't know.
Yeah.
What happens then?
I have found an answer to that since I talked to you last, and the judge that presides over the fake court, he has thrown a college student in jail because of his continued loud music and partying stuff that is complained about by his neighbor.
Wow.
Made him spend the night in jail.
Just one night?
To tell you the truth, Ian, I can't remember if it was
this
one
is a
night.
question.
It was a short amount of time, but it was jail.
Here's what you need to figure.
They detained him in jail for a livability offense.
Yeah, it's curious, and thank you, Ben. I'm curious too. What is the punishment there? Because here in New Hampshire, if you don't pay a fine, it's $150 a day in jail.
But let's talk about HB 43, which alleviates everybody from fines or their licenses being revoked. That basically reverses everything.
This is a House bill.
That's right.
Do you know what the status of that particular bill is?
So it went through the House. I think it still has to go through the Senate.
It passed? It passed the House?
I think it passed the House. It has to go through the Senate. And the governor, when asked if he would veto it or approve it, chuckled. His response was a chuckle.
That's right.
Surprised he didn't go derp.
Classic tyrant response.
Total tyrant. Yeah, absolutely. All right, there's more on the way here. 603-283-6160. You're invited to join us here on the radio. This is Free Talk Live. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive.
It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
This is Free Talk Live, and you, as always, are invited if you want to join us here. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. You know, everybody's always talking about buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Well, that's boring as hell. How about earning some Bitcoin and getting paid with it? That's the way to do it. It is money, after all. Now, if you want to earn Bitcoin and other great cryptocurrencies at your business, anypayx.com can help you. Your customers will love it, and everyone in town is going to be talking about your store being the Bitcoin store. And it's just fun. Get the free app and start earning Bitcoin at your business. anypayx.com. That's anypayx.com. We have one of the founders of AnyPayX with us as well. He's Derek J. Freeman. Hey, Derek.
What a coincidence.
Hey, guys. Hey, so there's some, here's a good life hack. If you're doing something that is going to make people nervous, that's like carrying a gun or walking into a store without a mask on.
Or both.
Today,
or both. I did both today.
Or both. That's going to make people nervous, okay? So just realize that as a human being on the planet, you have a brain. You're going to make people nervous if you're doing things like that today. But 90% of communication is nonverbal. And so people are looking for visual cues to see, is this person a threat? Like you see someone and you need to cross the street because they're making you nervous. You know, that's totally normal. And here's the life hack that is going to allow you to be one of these people who might make people nervous because you don't want to wear a mask, or maybe you do want to wear a firearm on your hip, or whatever you're doing. Here it is. It's the easiest thing, and you're going to increase your freedom 500%. Just do this. These three things. First one's the hardest one. Wear a clean, ironed, collared shirt and tuck it into your pants. I guarantee you will increase your freedom 100% just doing this one thing. People will look at you differently if you're wearing a collared shirt that's ironed and clean. What they see when you walk into a store,
like Derek J.
Yeah,
I'm not
fine dresser, by the way, an absolutely amazing dresser.
Snazzy, yeah.
It's a game, right? Like I don't actually dress for myself. I dress for other people because you're playing a trick. You're giving them visual cues about who you are and either are you a danger or are you safe? And so I can walk right into any store without a mask because people can look at me and say, okay, that guy's not a threat, right? And if I had a big, I'm not picking on any individual seriously.
Oh, here comes the beard comment.
If I had a big, scraggly hair emanating from my head, I look like maybe that person, I should stay away from them. Maybe that person, I don't know. So I don't.
Well, somebody
Okay.
did call you intimidating today, right? Didn't
That's actually the intimidating comment. Yes, yeah, it was kind of directed at me, but yeah.
It may have not been you. It may have been someone else. Seriously, and so. But here are the three. Let me just run through them real quick.
But I mean,
Wear a clean shirt.
Skylar's a big guy. I mean, he is if you did put on a nice shirt, it probably would make you a little less intimidating.
I could not agree more. No, I agree 100%. People are intimidated by me.
But at the same time, there is something to be said for being yourself, right?
Yes.
And wearing the thing that you want to wear.
You should be able to wear whatever you want to wear. You should be able to go everywhere naked, for what I think.
You're just saying this is how people look at people.
But yeah, in reality, there are people out there, and we live in a society, so there's other people, and they've got their own fears and their own things. But it doesn't diminish your freedom very much to just put on a clean shirt. And then, okay, number 2, run a comb through your hair or put on a hat. Make some kind of effort to protect your crown, because that shows that you're of sound mind. Like, if you've got crazy hair, think Einstein. People are like, that guy's crazy. You look at him, he's got wacky hair.
Yeah.
But if you've got
about
it
me on this
under
one,
control,
guys. I don't ever run a comb through my hair.
You do have a little bit of
it gets a
alfalfa
little
action
crazy.
going on. Yeah.
It tells people this person might be crazy. Okay, third one, very easy. Wear a clean face. Clean your face. This is about framing your smile. So if you walk in, somebody's first impression of you is a guy who's got a clean face and he's smiling, you have 1,000% more chance of success walking through a store, without a mask on. If you're smiling and you look safe and clean and of sound mind and body. And that's all I want to say.
Hey, Derek,
it's going to increase your freedom.
Before you go, I just want to let you know that underneath my clean collared shirt that I wore to the studio
You are
today,
wearing a collared shirt. It's not pressed, though.
I did wear a T-shirt that just happens to say "Obey the beard."
Wise advice. That's wise advice. And I just want to elaborate a little bit on what you said, that the smile, to me, is the most important part.
That's the most important.
Eye contact and smile is huge.
Yes.
And I'm a conversation starter, so that's the moment I walk up to people and I start talking to them, they immediately calm down.
Yeah.
Their feathers go down. They stop looking so worried. If it's a tense situation, it's a different story sometimes. But for the most part, eye contact and smile are huge for me. And
totally
clean appearance, no matter what your appearance
beard is awesome, by the way. I mean, I love beards. I'm very pro beard.
Super soft
it
too.
indicates strength and it's manly and it's good. And beards are great. And I encourage everyone who can to have one and to groom it.
Well, and a smile goes a long way. I mean, that's the thing that I think everybody can do. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go on board with saying change yourself, because you got to be yourself, and I think that's important. But if you aren't somebody who smiles, that's worth working on. It's worth practicing to smile more, and there are ways to do this actually. If it's going to sound silly, but if you're alone, if you're in your car, you can put a big grin on your face.
Yeah.
And you'll actually feel better when if you're feeling down, you had a bad day or whatever, go ahead, fake it till you make it. Basically, put a smile on your face. You will feel silly. You'll feel a little bit better in that moment. And the more you can smile out in real life, the more disarming that is for people, because that's something that we're missing now more than ever. I was just talking about this last night with some people hanging out here, and it's like with all these masks around, you don't even have people who are in grocery stores or in department stores. The employees themselves are not talking to their customers.
Right.
They're not going up to you and saying, "Hey, can I help you with something?" They're not smiling. They're not making you feel welcome like they are supposed to or like they used to.
Yeah,
back
the
in the day.
infectious part of the smile has been killed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you can't go, it's a beautiful spring day, right? And everybody's generally, out and about. Oh, yeah, let's go outside. And if they're all wearing masks, you can't participate in their joy. So the smile is no longer contagious.
Yeah, it's no longer a nice day. It's now like a depressing day because there's people outside, but they've all got masks on, and you can't see if they're enjoying their day. It's so awful.
It's bland. And one of the things that I love to say to people when I see them not wearing a mask, male or female, I look them straight in the face and I say, "Hey, you! I love to see that smile. You keep showing that beautiful smile. Like it makes everything so much brighter."
If I see somebody in a store or whatever who's also, which is rare, but who's also not wearing a mask, I'll always make a point. I'll go out of my way to encounter them. If I see them on the other side of the store, I'll go out of my way just to say, Nice to see a smiling face. And even if they're not smiling when I say it, they do
They
as
will.
soon as I finish saying it.
And they will never give you an attitude or say that they hope you die or anything like that.
A lot of times they come back with a really nice quip as well.
Yep.
So, Derek J., thanks, man.
Thank you, Derek J.
Check him out.
Thank
over
you.
there. Appreciate it. AnyPayX.com, great site to accept cryptocurrencies. They're doing amazing work over there. 603-283-6160. And by the way, he called in through our Matrix chat server. That's why he sounded almost like he was sitting here with us. That great.
Buttery.
You can sound like that too. Just go to chat.freetalklive.com. You'll find the step-by-step instructions on how to join the server. There's more coming up. Free Talk Live. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
If you're looking for work, there's a piece of paper more important than your resume. It's the cover letter attached if you're snail mailing, or the email to which you attach your resume. Make it 4 short paragraphs. Paragraph 1, say that you're applying for work. The person you're sending to gets a ton of mail about all sorts of things. If you have a password, that's your first sentence. Tom Nelson tells me you and I should meet. Paragraph 2, what you do and how that relates to the opening. Be as specific as possible. Paragraph 3, why you want this particular job. I'm originally from Boston, so I know the market well. I have family and friends in the area, so this would be a homecoming for me. Paragraph 4, unless the job posting stipulates no calls, and I will call you to follow up. Thank you in advance for your time. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
that you want. Our number, it's 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Want to say thank you to a Free Talk Live silver amplifier. Studio 8424 LRN is their username, and I want to say thanks because they're backing us up with the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's a way for you to help us get Free Talk Live on more radio stations. You've heard some radio listeners calling in tonight. It's really nice to have radio stations, airing this show. That's primarily what this show is. We are also, of course, on the internet. We've got a podcast. But I grew up with radio. I love radio, and I'm grateful to be on almost 200. We're like 185 and change stations.
We could be on more.
Yep. So thank you for everybody out there listening to the show, and thank you to Studio 8424 LRN.
If that's the guy I think it is, that guy also rebroadcasts our radio show.
He does on the Float app.
Yeah, so
FLOTE.
Double thanks.
So yeah, thanks for backing us up on the AMP program. You get some cool perks if you join it. You can go and learn more and sign up with PayPal, credit card, debit card, Bitcoin, BTC. All over at amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go back to your calls and thoughts here. We have Jim. He's in Columbia, South Carolina. Jim, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, I just want to say there's nothing virtuous whatsoever about just blindly obeying and complying with authority.
No doubt.
So these people who think they're a hero because they're just listening to the government and wearing a mask when they tell them to. I mean, there's nothing virtuous about that.
You won't find any disagreement on this show.
Could not agree more.
Point.
Yeah. If anything, I think it's kind of cowardly, but people want to feel like they're, a hero just for going along with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it takes more courage. It's more courageous to say, no, I'm not just going to give up my freedom like that just because the government tells me to.
Yeah, well, because freedom matters,
tells me to.
And even if there was a dangerous virus or something like that out there, I would still not really want to go through these ridiculous hoops. But at least then you'd have some reason to consider it. If there were people actually dropping dead in our life, like if we actually saw that happening on an irregular basis, I think a lot more people would probably think twice on these matters. But
I've seen no evidence of a pandemic.
Not at all.
I also have to agree that
you wouldn't need to make it mandatory because people would
they do it on their own.
That's
true.
That
right.
That's true. What were you saying, Skylar?
I was just going to say that I think it is more courageous to not wear a mask because you have to accept the fact that you're going to be accosted. Like, people are going to bother you. People are going to yell at you. They're going to give you dirty looks. They're going to say things, and they feel justified in doing that. And
sure.
that's
They're the majority.
You accept that every time you walk into an establishment without having a mask on. So it does take courage.
Jim, anything
yeah,
else
I
you want to
haven't
share?
worn one this entire time.
Nice.
And when it first started, I did have a handful of people trying to give me a hard time about it. But like you guys were saying earlier, if you're just nice and polite to people, I find they usually don't even care. I mean, I go everywhere without a mask, and I've never been kicked out of a store. I'm just nice to people. I don't even smile. I'm just polite to people, and I don't make a big deal about it.
I am
if
generally
they ask me
polite
to leave,
as
I would
well.
leave and just go somewhere else.
I will return to some extent the level of difficulty people will give me, however. So by default, I will be kind. And, if you say, hey, do you need a mask? Or, hey, you should be wearing a mask, I'll say, no, thank you. And I'll just keep walking. If they push it a little bit, I'll say, I've got I'm exempt. And then usually that's where they back away, and then I just keep go about my business, and I'm never yell at them or snap at them or anything like that. But if they do start to give me some trouble or get a little bit more intense, then I will take a more firmer position if need be. And I've not yet gotten to the point where I felt as though I had to grab a video camera in somebody's private business, because I don't like doing that. That's one of the reasons I didn't go inside the grocery store today, was because, number one, I just generally don't shop there. But number two, I feel uncomfortable bringing a camera into somebody else's private business. It's like, it just, as a camera guy, somebody who tries to be respectful of private property like that, I feel like
they got cameras inside there.
They do have cameras inside there, and that's certainly their right to do. And
they are open to the public.
They are. That's true.
And it keeps people I'd like to say it keeps people accountable, but it doesn't necessarily keep people accountable. But it does highlight their actions. Like we had somebody who was swearing at a lady who was holding a baby today, like a little teeny tiny baby, and he walked by.
Was it the same guy that said words to you outside? Was it the same old guy?
No, this was a different guy.
Young guy, right?
Much younger guy.
I know which one you're talking about because he came by. I was outside when he stormed out of the store.
Yep.
He knew who I was, and I know who he is, but I couldn't connect where I know him from. He's one of the Keene people.
Sure.
And he walks by me, said something like, "You guys are crazy, and get the F out of here, Ian," and then "Get the F out of here." And I was like, "What's your name?" And he just kept walking.
Takes a lot of courage to verbally assault a woman and her baby in the grocery store while behind a mask, while there's plenty of other people behind her that you could have taken your rage out on. Like, take your rage out on me, bro.
Exactly. Hey, Jim, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it, man. 603-283-6160. We're referring, by the way, for listeners just tuning in, we started the show talking about what happened today here in Keene, New Hampshire. It was a mask-free flash mob that went to the local co-op grocery store, and that's where the encounter with this guy you were talking about, and then there was this other old guy who had a roll of quarters in his hand and was threatening to punch anybody that came near him. He lost his mind and continued losing his mind in the parking lot. Then he followed you guys after the cops came and told everybody, "You got to leave. We're going to trespass you. We don't want you on the property." And everybody left. There was no problem. Nobody got arrested.
Right.
So that's one of the things I was really happy about. And even though they said that you had to leave, they didn't tell anybody you were trespassed for 1 year. And that's what happened at the Hannaford and Nashua. There was another flash mob, mask-free flash mob that went to the Hannaford and Nashua. The cops came there, kicked them out of the store.
Then they collected names.
Well, I don't think they collected names.
Oh, they didn't?
They just said, "You're trespassed for a year."
Well,
so they don't really even know
they're not really even trespass. Unless they collect your names and write it down, they can't actually do a thing.
So the police officer that came up to me and accused me of being the leader, we got to highlight that still. But when he came up to me, he told me that I was actually never allowed back.
Oh, really?
Never. Dang. Dang.
He doesn't know who you are, but I guess he can probably identify you because
it's the beard.
People know who you are.
The only reason I know
you got arrested at the governor's house.
Yes, sir.
The only reason I know that store is open to the public is because, well, when I first landed here in Keene, it was the closest store to the apartment that I rented, and I didn't have a car at the time, so of course I had to pop in there. The only real reason to go to that store, in my opinion, is because they have a great beer selection. That's the only reason to go to that store.
I bet there's a lot of great beer selections in Keene.
There's actually a little shop in Keene that's all about weirdo beers.
Yep, been there.
Yeah, so they've got a pretty good selection there, I think, too.
Yep.
So there was another aspect of what you were saying there. The number, if you want to join us, 603-283-6160. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, finally, somebody else is now in charge. I'm really grateful you've taken over here, Skylar, because almost every time when the cops show up to a group, they make a beeline for me, and they think I'm in charge or whatever. Even though we've always pointed out these are all individuals, and it was pointed out today.
It was a beautiful situation. Yeah,
I wish I had the video queued up, but I can't say for sure if there weren't any profanities or whatever.
It's a real weight off your shoulders, isn't it?
Yeah, it's refreshing. But it was so cool because when the cop was accusing you of being the ringleader or whatever. A bunch of people were like, "Well, I'm a leader. I'm the leader. I'm the leader."
Perfect.
It was
amazing.
A beautiful thing.
That's awesome. I love
and
that.
there was at least a dozen people around at that moment. So, and the cops, they don't know how to handle things like this. They're better at it in Keene. Like his attitude, he wasn't being as intimidating. Like I got to give him credit. Like, they weren't terrible.
They're getting better at handling these situations because they're getting used to it.
Well, Keene's had a lot of practice.
Right.
Because they've had a bunch of activism here for a long time, and that cop in particular has been around for all of it. A lot of them are younger, they're newer, but that one's been around. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go all the way back to Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Check that out at victimlesscrimespree.com. That was happening about 10 years ago.
Free Talk Live.
I have been in the Central Square in Keene, New Hampshire with a group of people, and people have smoked cannabis there. If you don't want to inhale the cannabis, don't stand right in front of me as I'm smoking the joint. I'm not going to make an effort to blow anything in your face. That would be rude. That would be a violation of your personal space. But if you're downwind somewhere and you can smell the aroma of the pot being smoked, that in no way, shape, or form is having any effect on you.
What if they're standing 5 feet away?
You are being ridiculous.
No, I'm saying.
You are being ridiculous.
No.
The only way you're going to get high, sir, the only way you're going to even have a chance of feeling any sort of effect is if I go walk up right into your face and blow it up your nose.
Nice try, troll.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, you can bring up what you want right here. Our number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. In the studio with you tonight, you've got Ian.
I'm Skylar from Savage Truth 603.
And the Captain.
And by the way, that's his YouTube channel, Savage Truth 603. Captain, you got a website too. It's lordkickass.com.
Correct. We were talking about burning face diapers earlier. I made a parody of a Beatles song called The Paperback Writer.
That's right.
That I turned into Wear the Face Diaper. And you can find that over at lordkickass.com.
Did you do you link, by the way, to the COVID carols from your website at all? Not yet, right?
No, I don't have the ability to do that with the way it's set up. I'm not a web guy, so I literally have the URL pointed at another service provider's page, so where I can't, But
you also were the writer of the COVID carols, so if people want to check
which
those
are
out,
amazing.
They are. They're great.
I did record one of them, and it is up at lordkickass.com. It is still free to download.
Right on. So check that out. And if you want to look for the COVID carols, just go to freekeen.com. You can type it in the search box, and you'll find those. You can download the song sheet and go out and do some caroling.
Had such a good time.
It doesn't have to be the Christmas time, to do classic carols like the COVID carols. You'll love them.
They're always relevant.
All right, we go back to your phone calls and thoughts here. We can talk more about the mask-free flash mob that happened earlier today. But first, we go to Robert. He's in South Carolina listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I just wanted to mention, I don't know if people realize it, but America would never have been a revolution if the Jews hadn't been there, because it was the last $400,000 that the Jews scraped up in order to get that together to continue the revolution. The American soldiers were tired and sick and hungry, and they wanted to go home. And George Washington sent a message to the Jewish community and said, "We're out of money. You're our only chance. You've got to scrape up an additional $400,000. Otherwise, we just have to call this quits." And they did. They got it together. And the British found out about it, and they found out where that stagecoach was going to be to deliver the $400,000. And they tried to hijack it, but the president, it would be General Washington, he found out that the British found out about it, and he prevented the stagecoach with the $400,000 in it from being hijacked.
That's interesting. I had not heard that
story.
story.
That's why we're free today. So they should think about that and also the Federal Reserve Bank. That's a business operation. That has nothing to do with Judaism or anything like that. That's strictly a business operation, and there are other families in there as well.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a Jewish operation or a Christian operation or whatever. The Federal Reserve needs to go away. It is a bad organization.
Not only is it not federal, but it has no reserves.
Thanks for the call, Robert. We continue. Harry's in South Carolina. Harry is the councilor that was mentioned earlier on the show tonight. He is a city councilor there. Is that right, Harry?
Yeah, I'm a city councilman in Charleston, and I called you guys before. I was telling you about.
Yeah, there was a guy who actually called in, and he brought you up tonight, and he said that there's an attack against you, claiming that you are a racist or a white supremacist. What's going on?
Yeah, this cancel culture, they're coming after me because I think differently. I believe in limited government, and I am just appalled at the oversight that we've had throughout this entire pandemic. We have told our citizens basically what to do every single day throughout this thing. We have shut our businesses down. We are fining people every single day for not wearing masks. And I'm talking about people are getting fined $500. I mean, these are not small fines. And the courts have been shut down throughout this whole pandemic as well. So we're getting ready to open up the Livability Court again, which is a made-up court because we're a tourist city here in Charleston. I don't even know the legality of this Livability Court. But basically, we have a HOA of Charleston that goes around and writes people tickets all day long. And I have obviously been outspoken against big government. And I have talked about how I think that our government is wrong. And
Why are they saying, Harry, that you are a white supremacist? I mean, what are they trying to drag you through the mud for?
There was going to be a rally, a Tea Party rally, where we were going to fight taxes, and they asked me to come speak, and I originally said I would. And when I heard that there was going to be some more militaristic, and there was going to be some guys there that were forming their own militia and that sort of thing, I said, no, thank you. I can't be a part of that. I'm on the city council, and the last thing I need is to create more divisiveness, because we're already very divided. This whole mask mandate and everything else going on, we're very, very divided. So I said, no, thank you. Well, the far left, they just by the sheer fact that I had even agreed to go from the beginning, they wanted to cancel me. So even before Dr. Seuss and all these Disney movies and Pepe Le Pew and everybody else, since December of 2020, there has been a large group of people in Charleston that have wanted to cancel me, and they've been trying so hard. But I will not resign from my seat. I will not leave my seat. And here we are in March. They're trying to make a code of conduct, the city of Charleston is, where they can censure me. They want to put together this code of conduct that basically says if I were to come on a radio show or go on Facebook or just basically just say what I want to say, they want to be able to use that as a tactic to try to censure me. And, this is what it's like to live in a city like Charleston, where government has all of the say-so. The people have no say-so as to what happens.
It's out of control. Now, what happens with this so-called livability court? The caller earlier had brought it up on previous shows. Yeah. It's like some sort of made-up court that they have just for the city of Charleston.
It's like the city's version of an HOA. They go around. They have absolutely no police training whatsoever, but they have a ticket book. And they can go around and they harass.
Somebody gave them a clipboard.
People and they write them.
Micro tyrants.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens if if I'm in downtown Charleston and I'm not wearing a mask, because I'm not going to be, and one of these jackballs comes up and tries to write me a ticket, if I don't tell him who I am, what happens?
Then they're going to get another officer to come in and they're going to try to harass you.
Like an actual cop? Like they're going to call the actual police?
No. What they're going to do is these livability officers, all they are, it's just like you or me. They're hired by the city. They don't go through any formal training, but they're given a clipboard and a little fake badge. So one of them is going to come up to you and start interrogating you, while the other one runs and tries to find a police officer so that they can actually write you an actual citation, because you can tell these livability guys to go screw off. You don't have to give them your ID. You don't have to give them any information.
So then but if they can find a Charleston cop and bring an actual cop into the scene, the cop will assist them and will write a summons?
Well, technically they're supposed to, but our Charleston Police Department, they don't want to get involved in these kind of things. I mean, it's really, honestly, just a code violation. It is not a criminal defense. It's not a criminal citation. It's not a criminal
act. But if a cop comes up to me and says, "Oh, you've got a joint in your hand. I'm going to have to write you a violation," because now in New Hampshire it's no longer a misdemeanor. It's now a violation after decrim that happened in 2017.
Gosh. Oh, okay. It's just a code violation.
Hold on. So if they say I'm going to write you a violation and they say, "What's your name?" and I don't say anything, they can arrest me, take me down to the station, then hold me for as long as necessary to figure out who I am so they can put a name and an address on the violation. Once they get that, they will then let you go. What happens in Charleston, with these wannabes that are the livability cops?
Luckily, we have not got to that point, but that's what I'm afraid of.
When you say we haven't gotten to that point, what do you mean? Which point have you not gotten to?
We haven't gotten to the point. We haven't gotten to the point where a livability, officer goes and gets an actual police officer, and they get into that situation.
Is that because most people will tell them their name? Is that because most people will obediently say, "I'm Jim Smith. I live at 123 Anyway Street"?
Yes, I think that's a large part of it, and I think the other part of it is that our actual police officers are not going to get involved with these little.
Well, I hope you're right about that.
Code enforcement.
I hope you're right. And Harry, thank you for the call tonight. Although it's hard to imagine the police not wanting to write a ticket in
That's what they do.
Yeah. But I do appreciate your call, and thank you for sharing what's going on there in Charleston, because that's the thing. People don't think outside of these boxes. Oh, there's a guy with a clipboard. He wants to know my name. I better give him my name. Well, what happens if you don't? What are they going to do? Yeah. If they're not an actual cop, then they shouldn't be able to arrest you, which means you should be able to just walk the F away from whoever this person is. And I'd love it if somebody in Charleston would actually try that. And better yet, get video of this. Where's the video? Where's the video of these, clipboard wielding guys? I want to see what this interaction is like.
Sounds like I need to go to Charleston.
Nah. We got our hands full.
We do.
Up here.
We do.
603-283-6160. But it definitely helps to have a group of people who know their rights, who are willing to assert them. That's what the difference between here and there. More coming up.
Hey developers. Do you want to add Bitcoin to your apps, website? Want to make something creative? AnyPay is the way. We made a super simple API just for you at anypay.dev. You don't need any special knowledge of Bitcoin. Plug it into your app or website and it just works. Get paid on the transactions your users make. Whether you're brand new to web development or have decades of experience, you can add Bitcoin to anything with anypay.dev.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The federal government takes a step to help the border situation. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. The Director of Homeland Security has instructed FEMA over the next 90 days to receive, shelter, and transfer unaccompanied children at the southern border. The Biden administration's been facing increasing pressure to address the growing migrant crisis.
Democrats and Republicans want President Biden to possibly go visit the border. Republicans are calling this a crisis. Democrats are calling it a challenge. No question there are difficulties and problems at the border. Both parties agree of that. One of those problems, a surge of unaccompanied children, sometimes very young, with no possessions, just desperate to get into the United States.
Fox's David Sputt. $1,400 stimulus payments are beginning to be sent out as part of President Biden's coronavirus relief package.
While higher income individuals are not qualifying, the president says some families may be getting a lot more money than they realize.
For a typical family of four, middle-class family, husband and wife working, making $110,000 a year, that means $5,600 check they're going to get. 85% of the households in America will be getting this money.
Also next week, the government says Americans can go on irs.gov to check on the status of their payments. The payments are going out in plenty of different formats. Some people are going to be getting physical checks. Some should see direct deposits. Others may see a debit card sent to them.
Fox's Mark Meredith. A pair of NASA astronauts are back in the International Space Station after conducting a several hours-long spacewalk to rearrange space station plumbing while carefully avoiding toxic ammonia coolant lingering in the lines.
I felt like it was more than I was expecting just in this line, but it did stop.
Courtesy of NASA TV. It was the 5th spacewalk for this U.S., Russian, Japanese crew of 7. America is listening to Fox News.
If you're using anything other than Indeed for your hiring, you are wasting your time. Hire great people faster with Indeed. Only pay for results and get back time in your schedule. Indeed.com helps you find quality candidates instantly with Indeed Instant Match. Indeed searches through the millions of resumes in their database to help show you great candidates instantly. Get started right now with a free $75 credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Fox. Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through March 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
A spike in new coronavirus cases has prompted Italy to return to a nationwide coronavirus lockdown. Fox's Carmen Roberts reports.
Officials say a spike in COVID cases over the past 6 weeks is forcing them to increase restrictions and to warn they're quickly losing ground against the highly contagious COVID variants. So starting Monday, everyone in the country's most populated regions must stay home, with the exception of essential workers. And for a second straight year, the entire country will be on lockdown during Easter. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
Just today, Italy reported more than 26,000 new coronavirus cases. A Colorado man's accused of disrupting an Alaska Airlines flight from Seattle to Denver by refusing to wear a mask and then urinating in the cabin. 24-year-old Landon Greer of Canyon City was arrested after the flight landed on Tuesday. He faces a federal charge of flight interference with a maximum term of 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez have snubbed reports of their breakup. Fox's Michelle Polino reports.
Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez have not called it quits. The superstar couple dubbed J-Rod told TMZ, all the reports are inaccurate. We are working through some things. On Friday, Page Six reported the couple split, with her filming her new movie in the Dominican Republic.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. It's really not creepy to have little kids mindlessly recite this anthem every day and pledge their life to a government before they're old enough to really think about what they're saying. This is not a form of brainwashing. This is really the greatest country in the whole world. All the other countries suck. And if this country ever goes to war, as it often wants to do, I promise to help go and kill all the other countries' kids. God bless GE. God bless Citigroup. Amen.
Very good, kids. Now come and get your Ritalin.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the third hour of the program. As always, open phones if you want to join us. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. In the studio, joining you tonight, you've got me, Ian.
Skylar from Savage Truth 603 on YouTube.
And the Reverend Captain Kickass is here.
And we're going to continue with more of your calls and your thoughts. Also, you can join us on our chat server. We've got a Matrix chat server. That means it is not affected by big tech, Twitter, Facebook. Those guys have no influence over our chat server. We're in control of that.
Cancel this, MFers.
It's so open, you can actually just go and create your own chat room, and you don't even have to tell us about it. Like, it can be a completely private room. We don't even know it exists.
You can actually taste the freedom, too.
It's pretty cool, and it is free. It is free.
Tasty, my favorite flavor.
Check it out over at chat.freetalklive.com as we kick off this third hour here on the live Saturday show. Coming up, 62% say unvaccinated people shouldn't be able to fly in airplanes. That's the next step of all this insanity, guys. Yeah, they may be rolling back the mask mandates in some states, but they also have a plan afoot to mandate these vaccine passports if you want to actually go somewhere or do something. They're going to create, it looks this way, it looks like they're going to create two classes of people, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated.
Is it the Reuters poll?
I don't know.
It just happened.
It is a Reuters poll.
Okay, all right. I had
got that one too?
Marked for show prep. And the thing that bothers me about this and every other article I read that's like this is that none of them ever address people who have gotten COVID and recovered.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for any of those people
to get a vaccine,
much less two. So how are they going to account for that?
Oh, well,
and their little
Captain,
micro tyranny that they're trying to build?
Oh, well, you see, there's all these other variants, Captain. So, you got to get a vaccine for all the other variants. So, in fact, you need to get more than one vaccine. In fact, if you want to be a vaccine passport person, you're going to have to come in for a vaccine every 3 months because we got to make sure that you.
I think weekly's probably good. Let's go right for it.
Who knows how crazy this is going to get?
Don't make me pull this show over.
We can talk more about it. Let's go first though to Morgan. He's in South Carolina. It's a little loud there. Morgan, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, you're on the air.
Like I said, full disclosure, I didn't know that Harry was on hold because I've been calling for over an hour. And I'll say this, I'm changing my vein of what I was going to say, but Harry is the best city councilman that we've had in the last 20 years.
You're referring to Charleston, South Carolina. The city councilor actually called into the show at the end of the last hour, just in case somebody's just tuning in. And he says he's a small government guy. Go ahead, Morgan.
Okay. The man straight up, they want him out. You know why? Because he tells the truth, and they can't stand that. They're doing everything they can to get rid of him. But you know what? He stands tall. He's not quitting. He's not going to quit. He's going to strive on. But it's limited to me because I don't want people to think that, I'm one of his supporters. Well, yeah, I'm one of his supporters, but I did not know that he was called in and on hold.
Okay.
But Harry is, like I said, I know his dad, his granddad. I work. Well, not now, I'm retired, but I work for the company that his dad was in charge of.
Since you seem to know him, the allegations are that he is a racist. That's what the political opponents are claiming. Oh, we can't let you say that on the radio. I do appreciate hearing from you tonight, though. Thank you for trying. I understand that you probably were making an accidental BS there, but we had to let you go.
You can say BS, but you can't say the actual wording.
But for our listeners who were listening at home there and you heard the dump sound effect, he said that's BS, and he was referring to the question about people alleging that the city councilor was a racist. So, and, that seems to be what they just love to drag out, even though it may have absolutely no bearing on reality, because a lot of times they can just say a thing and make it stick somewhat, even though there's no evidence whatsoever for it.
And it has completely stripped the word of its meaning. Like, who hears the word racist and actually thinks that somebody is actually racist these days?
Well, if I don't see any evidence for it, I'm not going to believe it.
Right.
People can say whatever they want to say. So 603-283-6160 is the number here. 62% of Americans think that unvaccinated people shouldn't be allowed to travel on airplanes. The Reuters poll found also that 55% of Americans think unvaccinated people shouldn't be able to work out in public gyms, go to a movie theater, or go to a concert.
This sounds propagandized to me.
Classism, man. Classism. I mean, this is the basis of many science fiction novels. Where, certain people are over here because they won't behave in certain ways, and everybody else is over here because, we're the real people. And so now you create two different societies entirely.
I just want to say that I predicted this over a year ago, and I actually made a video about it, and I think that it's going to go a lot deeper than people even realize because they've.
So what did you predict?
Vaccine passports, social credit scores, facial recognition tracking, everything being tied to your bank accounts and your phone numbers. So basically, they have it's only a matter of time before they have complete and total control over every aspect of your life. Oh, you don't want to get a vaccine? Well, we're just going to shut your bank account off, and good luck getting food because now we don't use cash anymore because of this quote-unquote coin shortage.
Well, in Nashua, speaking of getting food, in Nashua, New Hampshire, the mask mandate is so strict, they've actually told businesses they're not allowed to serve unmasked people, period.
Can you imagine? Don't feed people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, segregation abolished.
And then brought back. History
under different terms.
Yeah, history is repeating. And it's very, very disturbing. This is going on, and people are applauding it. And I think it will result in, and I hope it results in a schism of society. I hope it results in these cowardly masked people moving into coward zones, and then the people who aren't afraid of actually living and understand that that does involve risk. That's what makes life interesting. Those people can stay away from each other. We obviously cannot get along. I mean, we had people threatening us today, threatening our friends in the aisles of a grocery store for simply going shopping, threatening them with violence. Some guy said, didn't he say you should die or something like that?
Yeah, he hoped that I died. Like he's wearing 2 masks to prevent other people from dying, but he hopes
Supposedly,
that I die.
Yeah, because you're stupid, he told me, or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. 603-283-6160 is the number here. As of Friday, 18% of Americans received at least the first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, and Biden has said that all adults will be able to receive the vaccine by May. The CDC announced last week it was not changing its travel recommendations for both vaccinated and unvaccinated people. The CDC still recommends that Americans shouldn't travel at all, apparently. The airline industry, in response, stressed its efforts to prevent coronavirus transmission aboard aircraft and its confidence that its approach is safe. Blah, blah, blah.
Brave New World was the specific science fiction I was thinking of. Aldous Huxley.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
It's the sort of division of societies, right? In one
class
society,
system?
It's more than a class system. In one society, it's everybody's all happy and they share everything. It's a very socialist thing. And then one guy comes along and challenges it, but he's from the outside, right? He lives in this other place where everybody's sort of a normal, natural-born person. They don't have, access to all the technologies that the folks living inside have and that kind of a thing. But, I mean, the story has been done in many different ways. I've just remembered that one because they did a television series.
I heard it was really good. Was that you that told me that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was top-notch.
Brave New World. Who did it? What was the series network? Was it Netflix or?
No, it was Peacock.
Oh, NBC.
Yeah, it was their sort of kickoff of their version of pay for streaming content.
Did you pay for it?
I did not.
Attaboy.
All right, so the phones are open here. Whether you want to weigh in on this Reuters poll, what do you think about unvaccinated people? And is there going to be like a dirty name like Japs? Are they going to have a name for us?
The dirty people.
The dirties, they're going to call us the dirties.
Even though we're the ones who are way more clean in that the people who are wearing the masks are constantly touching them. Every time. You can watch this video from the grocery store today. Every single one of these masked people constantly touching their face, which of course means they're contacting all that yuck and then touching everything else. And more coming up.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
AnyPay believes that Bitcoin is meant to improve your life, make it easier to do business, connect you with more people in the world at under a penny every time. That's kind of why we laugh at BTC. It used to be free the market, free the world. Now it's just hodl and have fun staying poor. That's not what the world needs. We need honest money that works for everyone. If you care, join us at anypayx.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. And you can do that via our number, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Or call in through our Matrix chat server. Go to chat.freetalklive.com for the instructions on how to do that. With you in the studio, you've got Ian.
I'm Skylar from Savage Truth 603 on YouTube.
And I'm the captain.
You can bring up what you want. We're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts. And Captain, on the way here, you had a U.S. health warning regarding COVID, since we've been all COVID all night here with an excellent protest that happened today in Keene, New Hampshire. That video partially is available over on the Breaking the Flaw YouTube channel. You can check him out. Also, check out Savage Truth 603, because you posted video of the you guys confronting the governor.
Yes, sir.
Here in New Hampshire, which was pretty epic.
A little ambush journalism, you know what I'm saying?
I love that kind of stuff. So thank you for your service on that one. We'll get to your story, Captain, but first to your phone calls and thoughts here. Jenny's up first, calling from Vegas. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Jenny.
Hey, so about 50 of us now in our group. We've been doing a bunch of mask flash mobs in stores. We meet every other week, like Saturdays. Mm-hmm. And like 2 weeks ago, we get into a strip mall, and we did Bed Bath & Beyond, Best Buy, Petco, and Sprouts all in one. You know, we walk from one store to the next because they're all in a line, and we walk with our huge signs, and we walk in the stores, and we make a big circle. And what we've seen that works is we have a girl that leads with a bullhorn, and she says, "Hey, Vegas, we love you. We want to protect you. We want to help businesses. We love you. Your masks are making you sick." And we hand out little flyers to everybody about why masks are making you sick.
So you're going into stores with a bullhorn?
Well, it's a small bullhorn, yeah, because these are big stores, like a Best Buy,
I
so
love
they
it.
hear us.
You got balls, Jenny.
Yeah, and then she just leads the rest of us around, and, we were definitely, somebody told us they hoped we died. They hoped we caught COVID and died. One time at one of the grocery stores, they said, we're calling the cops. They follow us, and they say, you're disgusting. And by the time we got out of the store, the cops were there, but they're like, we're for you. We're not going to do anything, but you are trespassing, so we need you to leave.
Okay,
But,
so do you
I think
guys
we're doing
actually
it in a
buy
positive
anything?
way, like
I'm
you
curious.
said.
Do you actually buy anything in the stores, or are you just going into Bullhorn and hand out flyers?
No, we don't have time. They won't let us. We just make a circle and we pass out these flyers to everybody in the store. But I'll tell you, people will be there with their little kids in masks, and they'll be, don't come near me. Oh, don't come near me, And we're just like, we care about you. We care about your health, Las Vegas. And
yeah,
so
I mean, it doesn't.
doing like
that
what
kind
you
of stuff
said.
rubs me the wrong way personally. I mean, obviously you guys can do what you want. You're not hurting anybody. So, but it's somebody else's business, and I as a protester, right? Like, I don't feel right going into somebody else's place of business and turning it into a protest zone. Like, what I've seen happening mostly here in New Hampshire, I've been pretty supportive of, which is people just going in to go shopping, but going in as a group. And then letting the store make the scene. If there's going to, you would have just gone in and bought something, walked out, and if nobody had said if nobody had said boo to you, it wouldn't have been noteworthy, right? There would have been no interesting video footage today.
We do that too in smaller groups, but we tried that in Trader Joe's. I don't know if you know them, but they're horrible.
I've heard.
They actually lock their doors and lock their customers inside.
Wow.
That's got to be illegal.
That sounds like kidnapping.
Yeah, it is. And we met some people who came out and they said, oh, my God, they locked us in. I go, I wish they would have locked me in because that's totally illegal.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long did they lock their doors? I mean, how long did they keep people there? What was the point?
I don't know. It was like a half an hour while we were standing there, handing out signs out of their front door, to people. And then we just finally left and said we're going to go somewhere else. But last week we marched. I mean, next weekend we're going to march the Las Vegas Strip. There's going to be a huge amount, and so we don't always go into stores.
What's Vegas like right now? I remember reading stories about it last year that it was completely dead. Early on in the whole COVID lockdown, the streets were empty. What are you seeing as far as tourism? Is anything coming back at all? What's going on the Strip?
Yeah, I've driven down the Strip, which you never can during the normal times. It takes too long in your car, but people are out there with their masks. But I don't go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere that requires a mask. So
good on you.
I have driven around. It's horrible here. It's really bad.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that I go to my local grocery store and they let me shop because they know me or something, and I'm the only one without a mask.
Man, that is a terrible feeling.
Screamed at me, And people will talk to me, and I said, "You've got to be. It takes guts to walk into a store without a mask, but you got to do it."
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish more people had those guts. Jenny, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. And I can't blame people for responding in that way. They feel like life has been pulled out from underneath them, and they're responding in whatever way they feel like they can. If it were me and I wanted to do an outreach to people in a store, I wouldn't go in with a bullhorn. I would stand outside, and they'll kick you off the property because it's private property, and I don't want a bum standing outside my store, harassing my customers coming in, and I certainly don't want somebody who hasn't paid me, to hand something out to somebody. So usually, you do have to ask permission for those sorts of things, but you could stand outside of the store and then get everybody coming in and going. You probably actually be more efficient that way rather than just walking in and trying
That's
to,
good advice
to hit people up
from
the store.
You particularly. You have a ton of experience at doing this kind of thing, so it's really good advice for them. I get the feeling that maybe they haven't done protesting before, or this is a new thing to them, and so they're just like, well, where are people? Because that's where we need to go.
That's true. And where do you find people now? That's a great point. I mean,
Telegram.
It's like I said before, but like in real life, like I said before, I'll go wherever the people are. If it's a Black Lives Matter event, if it's a Trump rally or whatever, wherever there's people, that's where I want to be. And so, a grocery store is a place where there are a lot of people. So I don't blame people for taking this tack, but just try to think of how you would feel if you were just trying to go and get some groceries, and then there's this group of people that comes in with a megaphone to, blast you with whatever the message is. Are you really going to be receptive to that message?
It's kind of like screaming in somebody's face, in my opinion. Like, if you want to get your opinion across, the worst way to do that is to scream it in somebody's face, because it turns people off, right? They don't want to listen.
Work. Ian's protesting pro tips here on Free Talk Live.
It's just a suggestion,
featuring Derek J. and Fashion Tips.
Yeah, absolutely. And by no means am I the right guy for every protest or whatever. And I've not been in every situation, but I've done a lot of things. And I don't like intervening in people's lives, because I don't think that, whether it's getting in their face or it's just stopping them from doing the thing they wanted to do. I remember when Footloose, who was one of the guys that was there today, and he's a great activist, he's a great organizer. He actually was suggesting that we do this thing in Keene where you would snake a protest across Main Street over and over again in the crosswalks, and have the snake of people be long enough to where you've just stopped traffic. So even though you're still moving, you're not standing in the road, you're moving constantly, but you're essentially blocking the traffic. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't participate in that, because you're blocking traffic.
Makes people mad.
It's going to make people mad. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to read your sign, and if they do, they're going to hate you. So, do something that's more creative, something that's going to get their attention, maybe make them laugh, or at the very least just get their attention without angering them. And just being a protester generally angers people, so it's not an easy thing to do. More coming up.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live. Open phones if you want to join us here. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. You ready to start learning about cryptocurrency? Well, you ought to be. Bitcoin just hit another record high today.
It was 61,000 when I came to the studio today, so...
The previous record high was 58,000 set, I don't know, a week ago or something.
A couple weeks.
And now it's 61,724, according to my little Bitcoin ticker widget here. So maybe it's time you start learning about this. You can do that. Just go to Bitcoin.com, click Get Started, and that'll take you to some introductory videos. There's a series of them. But if you only have time for one, just watch the first one. It's like 3 minutes long. It'll give you some basic concepts because there is a bit of a learning curve here. There's some new ideas. Decentralized currency is a new concept for us, for people generally. It's been around for about 12 years at this point, so we're still early. This is still, even though it's $60,000, sounds like a lot of money. You don't want to be, 10 years from now looking back and saying, boy, remember when it was only $60,000?
That's me now.
Because that's what's going to happen. So, but you've got a little bit of crypto now.
I do. I've
Skylar,
been gifted some crypto by some friends, and it climbs all the time.
Oh,
it's ridiculous, man.
I mean, it may not always climb. It could go down tomorrow, but the U.S. dollar is going to go down. That much you're certain of.
Guaranteed.
They're printing out another $1.9 trillion as we speak.
It's true.
So that's guaranteed to lose value. Cryptocurrency could go up, could go down. Over time, it has tended upwards. So go to Bitcoin.com, click Get Started, learn the basics about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and cryptocurrency in general. They've also got a great news site. You can go there at news.bitcoin.com. We go to Wolfgang, also calling us from Vegas. You're on Free Talk Live.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Love it.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify about the protests in Las Vegas. When I first gathered for these a couple of months ago, and I wasn't familiar with this whole mode of protest, but it's really, and I was a little bit concerned as yourself, like, are we in people's faces? Are we trespassing, doing things people don't want?
Right.
But after I did it, it's really good. First of all, there's a woman she's got a bullhorn, but it's very low, and we don't get in anybody's faces. We snaked around the stores clockwise or counterclockwise, and the people, we get as many good reactions as we get bad. Some people out in the parking lot and on our way out took their diapers off and threw them on the ground and stomped on them when they saw what we were doing. So it encourages a lot of people in the stores and out that there's people who are concerned about what's going on. And we're not in anybody's faces or blasting or anything like that. It's not overly loud. She's got the thing turned very low. We just say we're concerned about your health. Masks are killing you. We have leaflets that with information about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
So,
like I said, it's not my style, but everybody's got their own thing, and whatever it is that floats your boat, man. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it ain't right for me.
I mean, the question I always ask with any of this kind of, is it effective? Are you having an impact on other people?
He's saying he is.
Like I said, like people were taking their masks off and stomping on them in the parking lot when they saw us doing that.
I love it.
Hope they picked them up after.
Yeah, it's so sick seeing those things all over the damn place.
Kills me.
Littering them everywhere.
Yeah, I think they did.
It's gross.
I think they cleaned it up. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Wolfgang, for calling tonight.
I saw a headline about their the masks are gathering on the coral reefs now.
Yeah, I bet they are.
So many people are just chucking them wherever.
Yeah, are we surprised?
Nope.
I'm not.
People are dirty.
You had mentioned earlier about you had predicted, some things, and we've been talking about the whole, masking, the vaccine, the coronavirus, the elaborate government shutdowns, and we've been saying a whole bunch of things ourselves. It's not surprising to me to see any of this at this point.
I appreciate people taking action. Even if I don't agree with exactly how it's put together, I do appreciate people doing something rather than nothing.
I hope
the only way you find out what works is by getting out there and trying it out.
Yeah, I hope they're effective at changing hearts and minds.
Stefan, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing that I like to repeat to people is that we don't always have to agree on everything. Maybe you don't have to agree on means or methods, but if we agree, if under the umbrella of freedom and liberty, then we can come together under that and we can work through the rest of the stuff together as we go.
Let's go to Stefan in Georgia. You're on Free Talk Live. Stefan.
I was going to comment on the recent Reuters poll. I think it's a little disingenuous to refer to some of these things as COVID-19 passports. Now, if there were some sort of a mandate by the state that would make it so you had to prove...
Just to clarify, Stefan, you're referring to the poll that found that, was it 62%, I think, or
62%.
Of Americans that want people to have a vaccine passport in order to fly on airplanes.
I don't think if it was implemented in a certain way, it would be inherently anti-libertarian. I don't think it would be wrong for... No, it would not be inherently anti-libertarian because the airlines are responsible for their own rules and restrictions. And if you don't want to follow them, you're not entitled to fly in their airline. So I actually don't think it's a problem for airlines to say you...
are basically an oligopoly that is promoted by the government because the government keeps people out of that business. If you want to run an airline, you've got to get governmental approval, which means it's a closed system. You can't get in and compete, so it's not a free market.
It won't allow me to go out and start kick-ass airlines tomorrow.
Nope.
With no requirements at all. So,
not to mention...
Nothing stopping you from getting your pilot certification and flying your own plane.
Actually, there are all kinds of restrictions on that.
It's very easy to shove these restrictions down people's throats when you don't have to worry about your business being impacted because you're being funded by the government.
I know a pilot. We actually know a guy. He comes to the nightcaps regularly here, who is a pilot. I won't name his name, but he's also a state representative here. He's one of the Liberty reps here in New Hampshire, and he's a pilot. He's got his license, but he cannot fly commercially, because that's a whole other ball of government regulation wax in that particular case. If they find out that he takes money for a ride, then he could lose his license and possibly be facing some sort of, I don't know if it's criminal penalty or a civil or whatever, but some sort of a punishment for breaking the rules of flying commercially. So, no, it's not just something you can just get a license and just start taking people places for money. It doesn't work like that.
Can't start a commercial airline, but you can fly yourself. But what I'm saying is at this moment in time, with the society we live in now, you are not entitled to fly on an airline. Spirit doesn't have to say you can come onto our plane and you can do whatever you want.
Sure.
You have rules and restrictions to follow.
But they're also
Most
not free to choose
understand
anything else. Spirit's not free to make a choice otherwise, because if they want to come to the government-run airports, they've got to follow the government-mandated rules.
Can they discriminate against people by their skin color or by their nationality or by their sexuality?
I was going to say this earlier. That's a completely facetious argument, and you know it.
How so?
Comparing COVID restrictions to your race, which you were born with, and you cannot change, and trying to act like because you just don't want to wear a mask because you're an entitled baby, thinking you go through the same exact
discrimination is discrimination, bro.
The exact same discrimination as somebody that has a different color skin. People that were held as slaves, to think that you are even being treated remotely the same way they are.
Discrimination is discrimination.
The fact that voluntarists are entitled babies.
Well, the sad thing is seeing people like you, Stefan, who at one time were actually supposedly voluntarists.
I grew up, Ian.
Oh, you grew up. Oh, isn't that sweet? So now you're a statist.
We live in a society, Ian.
A society of what? A society of cowards?
Yeah, I didn't agree to your society, and you're not going to shove it down my throat.
Well, you're born in it anyway. You can leave.
No, actually, I can't.
We can't leave society.
I've actually...
sure you can.
I can't physically leave without asking governmental permission to do so, number one. Number 2,
The
I don't
government won't care.
consent to your society. I wasn't born into it. They never asked me for my consent. And I joined my own society called the Shire Society. It is a voluntary society of people who wish to be left alone and people who are willing to leave others alone, which does not include you at this point, which is sad, but that's the way it is. Thanks for the call tonight.
See ya.
This is what happens to, really, it's a shame to see libertarians schisming on this particular issue, but he's just one of a myriad of people who should know better than to believe the government. But because as soon as the government has themselves a doctor who's got a lab coat on, now all of a sudden they should be believed. Now all of a sudden they should be trusted. And it's sad.
The experiment requires you to proceed.
Yeah. Was that Skinner? Which study was that?
The experiment requires you to proceed.
That's the obedience study. What was it? Skinner?
Pavlov?
Skinner?
No.
Oh,
Stanford prison experiment? No, that wasn't a prison experiment. Whose was that? More coming up. Free Talk Live.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You know that at some point in your life, an emergency is going to happen. You just don't know when. You could call the government and maybe they'll help, or they might shoot your dog. Why call potentially psychopathic strangers when you could ask your friends, family, or neighbors for help? Cell 411 makes decentralized emergency response possible, and it's free. Visit getcell411.com or download Cell 411 from your favorite app store. Get cell411.com.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live, and the phones are here for you if you want to join us in these remaining moments. Come on! We got time for you. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. We have a lot of features, and they're waiting for you over at freetalklive.com. Coming up this summer, which is now roughly 3 months away, you can join us in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire at Rogers Campground, the largest campground in New Hampshire, for Forkfest 2021. It is the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which on its own is a fine festival. But the Porcupine Freedom Festival spawned Forkfest because some people wanted less control. Some people wanted less organization, no central authority, no ticket prices. Just get your campsite, your RV site, or your motel room. That's all available at Rogers Campground. And get it now because you want to lock this thing in. I'm not going to tell you the thing's going to sell out. I don't think that's going to happen. But you want to have a good choice of your spot, where you're going to be in relation to other people.
Not all campsites are created equally.
That's true. So get on over to forkfest.party. You can learn more about the event there. The dates will be June 28th through July 4th. Now, of course, there's no official dates for Forkfest, so you can start and end whenever you want. Those are just the dates we're promoting. Some people are saying it starts a week prior to that, so you decide. We're going to definitely be there June 28th through July 4th, and it's a decentralized camping festival, meaning that you decide what to do. So, Captain, you mentioned earlier you've got a band. You guys are going to play some rock music. You did it last year, so I believe you're going to do it again.
I put a bunch of money into new gear, so I hope we can pull it off.
Yeah. You know? So that's going to happen. I know there was a poker table last year that was going, I think, every single night in one of the party tents.
Nice.
The boys from AnyPay, Derek, Jay, and Steven, they're going to have a party dome set up that's actually going to be rentable this time. So it used to be just they were doing their thing in there. Now, if you want to rent the party dome, you can do that. You can have a presentation in there. They're going to have
Are they still doing Space Disco?
Space Disco's coming back, yeah, for sure, which folks who attended the quarantine know how a quality event Space Disco is.
It was rocking.
Yeah, so they're going to throw one of those in the woods at this campground. So you don't want to miss out on this. Go to forkfest.party June 28th through July 4th. Unless you're a coward and you don't want to be around other human beings, if you're afraid of people not being in masks, you need to stay away from this event. You'll be very frightened. It'll be very scary for you. But for the rest of us, it's going to be a great time. So come on up and join us. Forkfest.party. We go to Sir Kenosha Kyle. He's calling us on our Matrix chat server.
Like the name?
So let's talk real science. And I don't mean Gavin Newsom science, baby. I mean actual science coming from the CDC, specifically a very recently released abstract or a study, if you will, where they found out that the majority of people were wearing masks and that they're wearing them correctly and that they're wearing N95 type masks. Actually, like about 96% are wearing them, and that many are wearing the N95s. And they found that on average, it reduced transmission by 1.7% of the coronavirus.
I read
at the lowest rate. At the lowest rate, 0.5%. At the highest, 1.9%.
Was this the news you had, Captain, for tonight?
No. This was a bit different. U.S. health officials have warned of false positives with a widely used lab test for COVID-19. Which, if this sounds familiar, it's everybody has been talking about how inaccurate the PCR tests are. Yep. But this is actually a different test. This is the COBIS test made by Roche.
So also inaccurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Weird.
So there you go. You just gave a bunch of evidence to Stefan. Now they can tout their 0.5% and say, see, it reduces it 0.5%. Everyone should wear masks.
You could save 0.5% of grandma, bro.
Which the CDC actually in that study says it's a negligible amount and wouldn't really reduce any deaths. But then they followed that up to say it still could potentially reduce deaths and exposure.
Right. We couldn't find any evidence.
Yeah.
But
right.
everything that I've read, either from the CDC or from other scientific papers or scientific journals and all that kind of stuff, it all says could. It doesn't say does.
Yes.
It never says does.
No.
It never says the masks do decrease the transmission rate by this much. It never says does.
Right. So
it
it's a
says
belief.
Could.
It's a belief system. It's faith.
Right. It's faith. Fauci faith. You have to have faith in the Fauci.
Gross.
And that's ironic because even Fauci said that the PCR test, when you do them above a certain level, which we know they're doing above 35 or whatever it is, that they are basically completely inaccurate.
Yeah, the creator of the PCR test said that himself. So
he did. Yeah, he did say that too. And Fauci said, "Yep, that's right. We can't be doing them this high." And yet we haven't heard anything about that again recently.
Well, no, they did lower the recommended revolutions for the PCR test shortly after Biden was elected.
Oh, did they also kind of like they also changed the definition for herd immunity on the WHO's website, where they used to say exposure to a virus to a certain amount will create a herd immunity in society. And now it says exposure to a vaccine of that virus, not actual exposure to the virus.
Right.
Wow. It's crazy.
Changing the definitions to fit the narrative.
It was weird. It's like somebody wrote a book about that. I don't. What was that?
his name?
Oh, 1984 by George Orwell.
We've mentioned them both tonight. It's a rare night when we get to mention both Huxley and Orwell in the same broadcast. That's pretty sweet.
Unfortunately, we're living it.
It's a little scary at the same time.
Oh, yeah, and the obedience study, we didn't say it on the air. It was Milgram.
Stanley Milgram, the Milgram experiments, yes. So, the experiment requires you to proceed.
Okay, Mr. Lab Coat, I'll do whatever you say. Apparently say all the half the libertarians. I don't know if it's all of them, but it seems like a significant portion. It's sad stuff.
Well, now you don't even need a lab coat and a clipboard. You just need to be wearing a mask and trust Fauci.
Well, and that's what this is about. It's about belief. It's about faith. And remember, I don't know if you remember this, but during the 2020 election, Biden and some of the other Democrats actually had as their campaign slogan on their Twitters, like in the little graphic that you have at the top of the Twitter user profile, it said, "Keep the faith."
Keep the faith. Yep.
Because government is a religion.
It's true.
Yes, it is.
It is the belief in this thing that is supernatural, that is bigger than humans. It's the state. This thing that doesn't actually exist except in the minds of the people who believe in it. And this whole COVID thing is all about faith. It's all about belief. It's all about showing your faith, which is what the double masking thing is all about. You know, we actually saw a double masker today. This lunatic that was threatening you.
Threatening
Skylar.
to kill me, yep.
Sorry, I was going to say, in one scene in the store, Joa, you see when he puts on the other mask. He didn't have it on initially. He puts the mask on while talking to a mask-free person in the store while threatening the mask-free person.
That is a true believer.
Bigger picture-wise, it is the belief that some folks are exempt from ethics and morality because a majority of people elected them to be so.
Well, don't forget, they wear the mask to protect us while also wishing we get COVID and die and also give it to our family and kill them as well. But they
literally
care.
What they think.
They care. We don't care.
Yep. Thank you, Sir Kenosha Kyle. I do appreciate hearing from you. And you can call in. Sounded great, by the way, through that Matrix server. You can join it over at chat.freetalklive.com.
I was like, is that guy behind me? Where is he?
Right. He's in my brain.
Wow. It's crazy out there, folks.
Crazy.
It's crazy. What can you do about it? Well, you can find a local group that's willing to actually stand up, because it's a lot easier to stand together against this insanity. Of course, there's the Freedom Cells. freedomcells.org, I believe, is their site. There's also
the White Rose.
The White Rose. Join the White Rose. Go to t.me/join the White Rose. All is one word. It's a URL for a website, but it'll take you over and it'll help you launch into the Telegram app to join that channel. I think that what White Rose is doing is some of the most important activism out there, because it's something you can do alone. Because a lot of people like us out there, they don't have a group.
Right.
They can't connect with somebody who's not a crazy mask person and, full of fear. So if you feel like you're alone out there, you can load up with these White Rose stickers.
Be a sticker pimp.
And go out there and hit the streets and go and leave these stickers. Pick the ones you like. There's a bunch of them. Some of them you might not like. Some of them you might love. Mm-hmm. Take the ones that are your favorites and put them up in places where you feel comfortable putting them up, and get the word out to people. It's a way that you can reach out without anybody having to know who you are, and it helps connect with other people who are like you and let them know, hey, you're not the only one.
We suggest public property too. You know, we don't advocate for you stickering private businesses. If it's a business that you know might not mind it, then do your thing, whatever. Also, it helps us stick them to glass. They're a little more easy to remove that way.
Those are good tips, and I appreciate that that you also agree with me on that, because it makes me a little uncomfortable when I see people putting them on private property. I can understand the argument for like banks, where they're basically the government.
Yep.
There's the difference between the government and the banks, real subtle. But yeah, if it's private property, I'd say generally stay away with that. But there's plenty of public property, plenty of street poles and, street signs.
Meters.
And of course, the age-old use your voice. Start talking to people, telling people how you feel and why you feel that way.
And if you love liberty, get up to New Hampshire and come join us. And we'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com, Savage Truth 603 on YouTube.
Like, share, and subscribe.
LordKickass.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The federal government takes a step to help the border situation. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. The Director of Homeland Security has instructed FEMA over the next 90 days to receive, shelter, and transfer unaccompanied children at the southern border. The Biden administration's been facing increasing pressure to address the growing migrant crisis.
Democrats and Republicans want President Biden to possibly go visit the border. Republicans are calling this a crisis. Democrats are calling it a challenge. No question there are difficulties and problems at the border. Both parties agree of that. One of those problems, a surge of